Today has just been quite outstanding. And,
well, I raised my son to be a St Kilda supporter, so I'm probably the worst out of all.
Well, it could have been worse.
Child abuse.
My son barracked for Fitzroy for a year or two, but then he's followed the Lions ever since. But we have got a game of football about to start. We should acknowledge the umpires, Jack Edwards, Michael Curtis and Leighton Rowe. It'll be a big day for them as well, because they've been selected amongst their peers to be umpiring at this level. We're going to ask Brad Mullen and Peter Lausch, with thanks to M&R Davis Constructions, to give their thoughts on who they think might win and by how much, and then we'll come back and hear what our experts have got to say. We might even ask Tara, we might hear her voice in a moment to see who she thinks is going to have a win as well.
Yep, so I think that after 2 weeks ago, Box Hill, Port Melbourne here, Port Melbourne really got their legs going and they really run the ball using the wings. And I think if they do the same thing today, I think they'll get over the line. So I'm going to tip Port Melbourne by 34 points.
Oh, hello. That's a big number. Peter Lausch.
Yeah, tipping Port, but just probably around the 15-point mark, just by going by the results of 2 weeks ago. Plus, Box Hill haven't really strung together a four-quarter game this year, apart from last week. So that's the reasoning behind that tip, I think. Port by 15.
And with thanks to our friends at Anytime Fitness, Forest Hill, our statistician for the day, Tara Hill. Your thoughts on who you think might win and by how much?
Look, like you were saying before.
We might just get you to move the mic just a little bit close to you. That's better.
That's it?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, look, like you were saying before, sometimes I just go with my heart. So, to me, I just want to see Box Hill win. So, I don't know, 30 or 40 points would be lovely.
She's gone the other way. Excellent, excellent.
Cocky.
And,
Cocky.
Paddy, what do you got?
I don't reckon it's often a blowout between these two teams, no matter who wins. So, yeah, I'd get killed if I didn't say Box Hill by 17 points.
Okay, Paul Hooper.
I'm going to say Box Hill by 1 point.
Well, we did, of course.
That would make me very happy.
And here's a game that one more chance for Peter Lausch to just wave to the crowd. But of course, he called the draw at the start of the season, and we had a half-time level, and at the end of the game, it was level as well. I'm not going to be silly enough to do that because I'd have to go and buy a jumper with the two brands on it. But I'm going to say Box Hill by a goal.
It's going to be tight. They're always
It's going to be tight. Yep.
And you'd hope the price is right. Like you can't go over.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Cans of tuna and stuff. I remember that.
Yes.
So today we are broadcasting the game on 94.1 FM, Neil, and also you can watch a replay of this game later today, and where our dulcet tones will be heard on the VFL.
And at 2 o'clock, we're going to introduce ourselves again because that's when the broadcast starts. We'll say who you are. We're not going to go. Yeah, I'll tell you.
But we're broadcasting at 94.1 and also at vfl.com.au.
And also through TuneIn app and also through 3wbc.org.au. So
the video streams at vfl.com.au.
We've got a bigger reach than Channel 10.
Not hard, really. And we're not owned by CBS. Which Channel 10 are now, I believe. So, yes, we are just about in readiness. The two sides are out on the ground. We don't believe there's any wind to speak of. Brad Mullen, you're closer to the ground than Peter is. Any breeze down there?
It's actually died right off, to be honest. The wind's just, it's very still. So.
And how about this crowd that's come in, Laushy? It poured rain, everyone ran for the hills, but now the sun is shining. The ground looks fantastic, and we had a fair crowd come in the last half hour.
Yeah, it's a nice, solid crowd coming in, and in a few minutes' time I'll have a look at the entry gate to see how long the queues are, but definitely a surprise considering the weather we had only about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Yep. We might see John Hook smile before the end of the day.
And if we do, we'll bring that to you live as well. The other thing, of course, we didn't get to talk about the other two games. We might do that at half-time because we did run out of time with talking about a few other things.
Well, what are the other two games?
No, the other two games, as in the ones yesterday, we were going to get a bit of a reply. There is another game starting at 2:40 that Phil's going to keep us engaged with, and that is the game between Essendon and Footscray. The loser of this game will play the winner of that game next weekend, probably next Sunday. So the Essendon Footscray game, it starts at 2:40, as most of the Channel 7 games do. So if the next time Box Hill plays, it will probably be a 2:40 start because Channel 7 will be doing all of those games. So players in for their final cuddle. The weather has cleared. This is 94.1 FM, 3WBC football. And
do we know who's won the toss?
We haven't got that. Brad, have you got that?
We're keeping an eye on it.
Excellent. So they haven't actually come through to do it yet by the looks of it.
No, they have, but every week in the coach's box, I forget to look. So.
We pay very large amounts of money to our boundary riders to do that, so I'm very confident they'll bring it to us very soon.
Yeah, so Port Melbourne kicking to the Eastern Freeway end of the ground.
And we have no idea whether there's any wind advantage because Brad has actually declared any wind advantage to both ends of the ground.
Yeah, but he's been good. He's been able to predict the weather.
Yeah.
Slightly better looking than Jane. That's Jane Bunn, that is.
Yeah, very hard to believe that that's the case. But yes, so Port Melbourne will be kicking to the left of your radio dial, and we have we'll call that the Eastern Freeway end, and we have the Whitehorse Road end of the ground at the other end. You got it all right with that, Paddy?
I'm fine with that.
That okay? Okay. So we will now we'll just wait for the umpire to put his hand in the air in a moment to introduce ourselves on the VFL broadcast. But everything in readiness? I think we are. Okay, you are listening to 94.1 FM 3WBC Football live from Box Hill City Oval. You are also listening to us on VFL.com.au. This replay of the video that you're about to hear is also being broadcast live on radio. Here is 3WBC Football's Paul Hooper, Patrick Hill, the coach of the VFLW side here at Box Hill Hawks. My name's Neil Butler. We have Peter Lausch and we have Brad Mullen on the boundary line. We are just waiting for the umpire to get started and we'll be right to go very shortly. Paul Hooper, you can take the reins when the time comes.
So the umpire in readiness in the middle of Box Hill City Oval, and we've got Mark Pitnet, Khan Haratuku in the ruck contest. So the umpire balls it up to start this qualifying final at Box Hill City Oval, and it was Pitnet who got the tap down into the hands of O'Rourke, who just fumbled. So ball in dispute now. Handball out by Warren for Box Hill. High up and under kick from the Box Hill Hawks. Travels laterally, no mark taken. Pretty slippery underfoot here. Big shower of rain just half an hour ago. Fisher got the handball off. Port Melbourne now with a possession, running onto it, but making sure it goes out of bounds. The player there in Brodie Myercheck, who's been a great player in the last few weeks for Port Melbourne.
For those of you who weren't aware of it, 2 weeks ago, Port Melbourne played Box Hill on this very arena, and Box Hill went down to Port Melbourne by about 4 goals. So important that they get a good start. Umpire brings the ball back in now. It is Harakatu, I'll get his name right soon, and Pitternet gets the ball down to O'Rourke. O'Rourke takes it inside 50 and finds the man in the green boots, and that is Ty Vickery, and he will take a kick at goal from about 40 metres out from the goal on a 40-degree angle, and a good move forward that time by John O'Rourke, Patrick Hill.
Yeah, what I do note there, Port forwards playing very high up the ground. It's more often than not you see Port trying to stretch the ground and get a bit of depth, but their deepest forward there was only 20 metres away from that stoppage.
So Vickery coming in, he'll kick from about 35 out, in fact, comes in now, big kick to start the game. He has kicked it slightly to his right and missed. Bronx cheer from the Port Melbourne crowd, but Box Hill take the lead a minute and a half into the first quarter. Box Hill 1 point, Port Melbourne yibbity yet to score.
So this is the VFL Love the Game final series, brought to you proudly by Peter Jackson Menswear as well. So going to the outer side of the ground, good mark taken there. That was by Anthony Brolick. Played a good game last week as well. Goes inside 50 now. Punch from behind. Here come Port Melbourne there through the 8 of O'Sullivan. Good player. Gave it off. They're just being patient here, Port. The captain in Pinwell laid on a huge tackle on Joe Fisher. Ball now in dispute. And the umpire will have to come in and ball this up now. But some heavy bodywork being done there by the Port Melbourne skipper.
I'd be really disappointed with that entry, Chris Newman. Very shallow and just really open up the corridor. You don't want to give Port any opportunity to do that.
Patrick Hill with thanks to our friends at Just for Men Hairdressing. Ball up on the start of the centre square. Forward line for the Box Hill Hawks. Going to go through it all again. Toby Pinwell, of course, playing his 202nd game. He played his 200th game here a couple of weeks ago. A stalwart of the club. Ball tapped down to the front of the pack, that time by Pitnet running onto it. It is the Hawks, but that time it was the player in Willsmore. Not able to get away from Murdoch. Good defensive play by Murdoch. And the ball out of bounds. Half forward flank for Box Hill there, attacking the Whitehorse Road or southern end of the ground. So
the umpire will ball it in here. Half forward for the Box Hill Hawks. I was trying to get Neil to continue on there, but you know what I meant. That's okay. Punch down from behind by Haratuku. Comes down the hands of O'Rourke, who's had a couple of possessions here. Hams goes inside 50. Blazed away there, though. Hands in the back. No, says the umpire. Fisher was looking for the free kick. Here comes Port Melbourne now through Myercheck. He able to give it up. It went straight to the Box Hill player who copped a beauty. And I tell you what, a little dust-up going down there. I'd be very careful if I was Ty Vickery, because he was suspended for jumper punching a couple of weeks ago, and we wouldn't like to see that happen again. But a free kick to Box Hill for around the neck.
It's Teo Mars, I think, with the ball. You can tell by the yellow boots.
So he'll go back and have a shot. He'll kick from 20 metres out, pretty much directly in front. So Box Hill looking to get the first major on the board. That's all with thanks to Budget Car and Truck Rentals, of course, driving your dollar further. So Miles comes in now on the right boot. It's a bit of a flat kick, but he's put it straight through. The Box Hill crowd do like it. So Box Hill, they go to 117. And Port Melbourne are yet to score. Port Melbourne yet to get it in their forward 50, and that's with thanks to Dream Street Millennium, but with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing in Forest Hill. Here's Paddy Hill.
Yeah, so commenting on Port's forwards playing really high up the ground, and when players in their side like Nahas and Pearson and Anastasio, my thinking is they're going to try and get the ball out the back a lot here and use that all-out pace. So they're trying to pull Box Hill up outside their comfort zone.
So the ball tapped down, taken by Harvey Hooper, but he couldn't get the ball forward. Into the hands it went of Dallas Willsmore, but a gutsy mark taken by former Hawk in Hugh Sandlin to centre-half back. He takes the ball out wide onto the outside of the other side of the ground. Bit overcooked. Ball missed Mitch Golby. Rolls out of bounds, half-forward flank for the Box Hill Hawks. For those just joining us on VFL.com.au, my name's Neil Butler. Paul Hooper with me in the box. Special comments being provided by Patrick Hill, coach of the VFLW side here at Box Hill. And we've got Peter Lausch and Brad Mullen on the boundary. The ball thrown back in. Pitternet taps the ball down to the front. He's had his hand on the ball a few times. Good hand pass ends up with Haratuku again. Out on the far side of the ground. Comes out the back of the pack and it's going to roll out of bounds before O'Donnell can control it. And it will be thrown back in again.
You guys have watched more Box Hill than I have this year. Has Connor Nash played forward before?
Well, actually, last week.
Yeah, he kicked 2 goals last week.
The only time, yeah. So obviously with Jones going out the side there, they feel they need another target.
Last week they had Vickery out as well, and I think he was a taller player for forward.
And they can spare him from the back six because of the players that have come in, of course.
Back in there.
So the umpire has balled it in outer side of Box Hill City Oval, the Middleborough Road side of the ground.
We need to say good day to our friends in Ireland too, who have a listen on a regular basis.
And Claire sent me such a nice message about the life membership, actually. So good on you, Claire. Thank you for that.
She also corrected you that Connor Nash doesn't come from Derry.
No, he comes from. Oh, she told me.
Connor Glass is from Derry.
No, Connor Glass from Derry.
Yeah, but Connor Nash isn't. But last week, Hoops made the false declaration, and it didn't go down well with our friends.
Tara's family's from Derry. So.
I don't want to start a war.
No.
Okay, so the umpire balls it in, outer side of the ground. Pitnet in front will get the tap down. Got into the arms there of O'Donnell, but Port Melbourne now able to take it away. So there's Nahas. He gives the handball off to Anastasio. Port looking good here, coming around the outer side of the ground. They go inside 50. The kick had a bit too much on it. Coming around is Heatherley. He'll go on the left boot, and he will clear. So the ball drops to the front of the pack there. Handball given off. Port Melbourne with patience there. Pinwall gave it off. Anastasio from the 50 line bouncing, but no, the mark will actually be taken there by Heatherley, and he will have some reprieve for the Box Hill Hawks.
Brings it out to Hams, just not very far down the ground, and Hams puts on his left boot, kicks it out here looking for Nash, but intercepting. Good mark taken by Lucas Cook. Hand passes off now to Masidi. He kicks it forward, but it's hand over City, turnover City even, and it looks like it might be Hams again with the ball. He's probably about 25, 30 metres out from his defensive goal, puts it on the left boot, kicks it out wider here, and he's just picked out 2 players, both of whom play for Port Melbourne. One of those is Templeton, who slams the ball back inside 50 towards the goal, and a great mark on the line there by the Box Hill player, Hams again.
He joined us in special comments a few weeks ago when he was injured. What a fantastic young man he is, Will Hams, and then last week, best on ground here.
Absolutely.
So they relieve now the Box Hill Hawks. The pressure's off, but they go to the outer side of the ground and in the hands of Port Melbourne. Inside 50. Oh, mark taken there. Good mark taken, in fact, there by Geordie Lyle. He'll go back. He knows this ground very well, Paddy Hill, and have a shot for goal.
Premiership player in the development in 2011.
And going by the new nickname of Frosty, I believe.
So I think you've seen a couple of times now how Port want to move the footy. And so what Box Hill's got to be wary of here is that make sure we've always got the last man. So you need to be rolling around to the back constantly so they don't get those fast players out the back.
That's right, they get that break, but in comes Lyle now. He's got the fairly long run up. Box Hill supporters disappointed when he came back from Brisbane and didn't rejoin the Hawks.
Even more disappointed now, I know.
No, he has kicked a behind there. So the first score on the board for the Borough. They move on to one straight one behind. And Box Hill 1-1-7. We've played 8.5 minutes into this first term.
So the ball brought back into play now by the Hawks, straight down the middle as it turned out. Looking for Vickery. Good mark by the big fella there, just behind the centre wing. He's off and moving. Kicks the ball in. Another interesting kick into the corridor. Picked up by Warren. Hand passed off now to, that might have been Jordan Walker. Brings it out wider to Hanrahan. Hanrahan runs around with the bright green boots. We like that. It makes it easy to tell who he is. Kicks it forward inside 50. Poor kick in the end. Coming out to mid-at City, but he overran the ball. Hands on now to Billy Murphy. Murphy runs around, hooks the ball. One behind.
Ooh.
Box Hill 1-2-8. Port Melbourne 1 behind. 9 minutes into the first quarter, with thanks to our friends at Dream Street Lending. Feel at home with them.
So Box Hill, Billy Murphy, excitement machine the last couple of weeks. I think he might have kicked 4 last week. We had him on the post-match. So inside 50, here come Box Hill now. Mark taken in the goal square. Will it be? No. Fumbled at the last opportunity there. But Box Hill unable to get it through Willsmore. Good pressure by the Port backman.
They didn't give it up, did they?
No, it's gone through for a behind. Box Hill 1-3-9. Port Melbourne 1 behind. With thanks to M&R Davis Construction, let's head down to the boundary. Peter Lausch and Brad Mullen.
Yeah, Box Hill have just done a move by bringing Murphy and Bully O'Donnell on, and obviously they're looking for that little bit of extra speed with Murphy on.
Yeah, and down Port Melbourne bench is just making the usual rotation. Shannon Lang just come off before, and Eli Templeton just having a bit of a rest now as well.
The Bay City Rollers had a song called Shannon Lang, didn't they?
Something like that. I'm not going to sing you a verse.
No,
so the umpire will ball it in outside of the ground. This is the VFL Love the Game final series, and we do love the game here at 3WBC as well, broadcasting at 94.1 FM. So on the bottom of the pack there, as he often is, Brendan Whitecross. He managed to get rid of it, but the ball in dispute. Handball out there. Port Melbourne just out of fresh air, kick it forward. Running on 2 players there. Overrunning it was Lyle. Comes back though, Port Melbourne, just chip kick it inside 50. Box Hill though, they're able to relieve. They've got the overlap now, but coming straight down the guts there, and Mark taken it half forward there by Whitecross.
Whitecross throws onto his left boot, kicks it deep inside 50, looking for Taya Miles, but he was always going to be outmarked, and that might almost be 50 metres from the player infringing. It was Viojo Rainbow.
He's been good so far in this quarter.
He was good against Box Hill last time too. He's going to get it back, and he's in the back pocket. When he takes the mark, he's looking to relieve some pressure in the back pocket of the ground. Kicks the ball long now, the former Blue. Kicks it down, looking and not finding his teammate. Instead, Kurt Heatherly. He's a much improved player over the time he's been at Box Hill. Paddy Hill.
Kurt Heatherly,
Yes.
coming in from New Zealand. I thought he was playing rugby for the first few weeks. He's become a very good player.
So when we get a chance, we might throw to Tara for some inside 50s. I believe Box Hill might have had a few there, Tara, with thanks to Aaliyah framing.
Yeah, at the moment, Box Hill are sitting at 7, Port at 5, but both of them have only had the 1 mark each inside 50, so I think the backs are playing pretty tight on their forwards.
Tara Hill joined us with thanks to Aaliyah framing today, Neil.
She said she had no radio voice. I tell you what, I could just see it on their 50th wedding anniversary. What was the highlight of our marriage? Oh, that time we broadcast together with Paul Hooper.
I don't think so. Doing a great job. Thank you, Tara. She just came in by accident because it was raining, and you know what? If you stand in here long enough, you get a job.
Yeah.
That's right.
Someone
That's
gave
how
us
I
that
got a
job.
job coaching.
Is that right? You don't think we auditioned for this, do you? So the ball comes in the forward pocket. It rolled toward the boundary line. Everyone thought it was going out of bounds except for Brolick, who's thrown on his boot and missed everything. So it's deep in the forward pocket for 12 and a bit minutes into the first quarter, with thanks to our friends at Dream Street Lending. Field at home with them. Box Hill 1-3-9. Port Melbourne just the single behind. And Box Hill City Oval live.
So the kick out from the out-of-bounds free kick. In front was Pitnet, but didn't take the mark. Here is Box Hill through Hams on the left boot, goes forward. It's punched, it's gone out of bounds. We'll have a ball in.
This game at the moment is spending very little time between the arcs. The defences have been very aggressive from both teams, and both teams really struggling to move the footy outside.
Just might give Paddy a bit more volume there, I
Sure, we
reckon.
can do that. Yep, there he goes. We didn't want to give him too much volume. We could hear him.
Umpire pulls it in now, out of sight of Box Hill City Oval. O'Donnell on the left boot, high up and under, unable to take the mark. There was Tynan for Port Melbourne. But Box Hill runs in through Murphy. Boy, he's one of the best crummers going around, and Murphy kicks his first for the afternoon. As I said earlier, he kicked 4 last week. Such an improved player this year. So Box Hill move a little bit further forward. 2-3-15 they are. And Port Melbourne one straight behind with thanks to Dream Street Lending. You can feel at home with us at dreamstreet.com.au. And with thanks to Just For Men Hairdressing at Brentford Square, Forest Hill, this is Paddy Hill.
So one of the things when Port's so aggressive and they want to play their forwards high up the field so they can get space out the back, is you're inviting the tall defenders for the opposition to come up as well. So Port, when they're trying to move it outside defensive 50 now, are having really trouble getting past the Mirrors and Connor Glass and these types. And when Box Hill's tried to move it outside their defensive 50, I think they've just been a little bit too static in how they've gone about it.
So Sullivan kicks the ball forward, finds Lyle coming out to meet it at centre-half forward, still inside the centre square, so you'd think he'd be too far out to score. He thinks the same, so he kicks the ball short, looking for his teammate there, but Connor Glass read it really well, came streaming forward and kicks the ball forward, now looking for his namesake in Connor Nash. Good attempt that time by Mychek to manage the ball. He slipped over. He's done really, really well. Umpire's going to...
Great effort from Nash.
Yeah, I thought the umpire was going to come in and ball it up, but the ball spills out, and it's now with the hands of Box Hill running across there. It might be Brolick. He gets it back to Heatherly out wide, and he finds Maxi Warren.
So Warren did a good job there, Connor Nash at forward. Kept plugging away there. Brody Mychek, a vastly improved player this year. So it's in the hands of Willsmore, half-back for Box Hill. He'll go the switch, long raking kick. That was dangerous stuff. We got Pinwell approaching you. So in the hands there of O'Rourke, gave it off. So Box Hill, now this will be through Bully O'Donnell. O'Donnell looking to go forward, went one way then the other. Couldn't make up his mind, threw it on the boot in the end. Probably could have done better. There's a hands in the back if I've ever seen it against Taya Miles. Flew too early.
Stewart.
I was Kate Stewart, so just flew far too early and hands in the back, Neil Butler. No need for that.
Not so much unrealistic as ridiculous.
But O'Donnell should have done something a bit better with that. He went one way, went the other, then just kicked it long.
So Haratuka kicks the ball out, and the man who's going to take the mark is his direct opponent in Pitt and Net.
So you don't kick it to him, do you?
Box Hill looking significantly better with him. Max Warren with the ball now, kicks the ball inside 50. Guess who's got it again? Billy Murphy. Surely not. That is a very smart kick. I thought he was going to have a shot at goal at first, but he hooked the ball around beautifully. And he's found his teammate there. It looks like it might be Andrew Moore.
Yep.
It is indeed Andrew Moore, and Moore is going to have a shot at goal. Can I say it? To make the lead more.
Well, Moore, he's been such a highlight at the Box Hill Hawks Football Club this year after 55 games with Port Adelaide and Richmond. He comes to Box Hill with a wealth of experience, great leader, fantastic bloke around the club, and he's just fitted in perfectly at Box Hill. So he'll kick from 18.5 metres out.
He's run out with his tape measure.
I'm having a guess, yeah. And in he comes down the right boot.
That's nice.
And he's just slotted that straight through. So Box Hill now 3-3-21. Port Melbourne one behind. No one would have picked this, especially Brad Mullins, who said 39 points or something like that.
And speaking of Brad Mullen, with thanks to M&R Davis Construction, we might quickly go down to the boundary to see what's going on, then come back to Paddy Hill.
Yeah, so just to use your rotations on the Port Melbourne bench here, just Sam Dwyer and Chris Kane are just coming off a rest. They're about to come back on, so...
All good on the Box Hill bench as well. Great vision by Billy Murphy to set Andrew Moore up with that goal.
So just again, that goal's come from a turnover with a tall taking a mark just outside 450. So if I was Port Melbourne now, I'll be thinking, do I try and stretch the ground a little bit more and pull some of those tall defenders, ruckman back a bit?
So the umpires balled it up in the middle of Box Hill City Oval. O'Rourke got the kick forward. Just bounced inside 50. No one able to take the mark there. Big push in the back there. That'll be Moore again, will it?
Yep.
Yes, it will. He'll go back. Got push in the back, had his nose squished into the soft turf here at Box Hill City Oval. That wouldn't bother him. He's going back. I don't think he's going to kick a torp, is he? But
see the torpedo goal that Chris Johnson kicked the other day?
And Bartel kicked too. They had a crack. He's having a crack here. He'll kick from 54 metres directly in front. In comes Moore. Long kick, won't make the distance. He just tried to put too much on it. It's actually gone out of bounds on the full, I believe.
Yes.
No, hang on.
Touched on the mark.
Yeah.
So it's going to be thrown.
Oh, that's why. Okay,
Yeah.
didn't get the purchase on it. Touched on the mark there. So with thanks to our great friends at the VFL, we love the game final series. This is the qualifying final here between the Box Hill Hawks and the Port Melbourne Borough. Box Hill lead by 20 points, 18 minutes into this first term.
So Vickery taps the ball down, thrown on the boot by Taya Miles, and he has missed. See, Box Hill 7 shots at goal for 3 goals, 4:22 at this stage. 18 minutes into the first quarter. Port Melbourne just a single shot at goal. Geordie Lyle missing to the right side at the other end of the ground. Kicked out now by Hugh Sandilands. There's a familiar kick for those of us who've watched him play his footy out here before. That long left foot out half-back flank. Rolls out of bounds on the half-forward flank for the Hawks, and the umpire's going to bring the ball back in. Port Melbourne not getting anywhere near as many forward thrusts as you would expect, with thanks to our friends at Aaliyah Framing, Tara Hill. How many times inside 50 for the two sides, please?
At the moment, we've had Box Hill have had 12, Port Melbourne 5.
Well, Box Hill not making the most of their opportunities. Here come Port now, out of sight of Box Hill City Oval. Might have just been smothered over the line there, and that was through Scotty Clark for Port Melbourne. So Box Hill making Port look a little bit sluggish. Port look good on the burst, but Box Hill back 6 doing a great job. So the umpire ball at him, thanks to Anytime Fitness at Forest Hill at 25 Marnie's Road in Forest Hill. So the umpire balls it in now. It was at the back there, we saw Nash, who played a bit of time in the ruck last week, got the tap down. Big tackle being laid on, round and round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. The umpire will ball it up.
Hello to Puggle, who's having a bit of a listen through Twitter. She said the guys up in the cherry pickers out on Middleborough Road are actually not working. They're watching the game from up there. So
That's
the ball coming down the far side of the ground. They get a good view of that because it's on the right side of the ground for them. Great effort, Connor Glass. He's run on and now kicked the ball out wide. He's looking for Maxi Warren. Ball bounces nicely for him. He's got Miles further out in front. Miles has got it on the wing. He's got players down the ground running for him, one of whom is Cade Stewart, but he turns around and goes back the other way to his captain. That's always a good move. Finds David Mirror centre half back, but Mirror takes the ball back out to the cherry picker side of the ground, finds Anthony Brolick by himself. He's got Hanrahan short. He's got Connor Nash further up the ground and finds him. Nash playing forward as observed by Paddy Hill earlier. Half forward flank too far out to score.
He's a big body, Nash, as well, so he can take a good mark. We know that. Been fantastic down back. So mark and chip kick back. So Box Hill just playing that brand of possession. Tell me, what's a possession footy? Thank you, Paddy Hill. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, starts with P.
Late night.
Well, there's 18 players behind the ball at here.
Here's John O'Rourke.
Yeah, that's a shocking kick.
It wasn't the best kick, was it?
They're really patient there, and then that's a really disappointing result. We spoke about shallow entries earlier.
That's good interception almost by the Hawks. That's going to be a little bit high, I think, umpire, and he's going to pay it. It is Taya Miles. And,
unlucky.
Yes. The Port Melbourne player, who I'll find in a moment, I think had a fundamental disagreement with the umpire.
Eli Templeton.
Was it? Yes, and he wasn't pleased.
Well, he's got a man bun. We've got to be careful of this sort of stuff. No, we love the man bun because Billy Burpey's got one as well. There goes Miles.
His hand passed off to Willsmore, though, I think. Yes, it was Willsmore.
Willsmore with a beautiful kick straight through. So Box Hill now. They'll move on to 3. No, it's more than that. No, it is. That's right. 3-4.
No, 4-4. Come on, Phil. Keep up. It's their fourth goal. 4 goals more, Murphy, Miles and
there he is, 4-4-28,
yep.
one behind to Port Melbourne. So with Phil, I said we'd have a chat to him if we could at half-time. He's very keen up there.
Is he?
Yeah, he's doing a good job up there.
So with Box Hill's ball moving at the moment, you can see they just want to get to the other side of the ground as much as possible, and it was only opened up by a great kick from Mirror then to get to Brolick. Port Melbourne very good at coming up and causing turnovers on the skinny side. They need to protect the open side better.
So back in the centre, hand pass comes out this time, but intercepted by Fisher. Fisher off now to Whitecross. Whitecross kicks the ball inside. Poor kick in the end, ended up in the hands of Cook. Cook's got the running player in Viojo Rainbow. Couldn't hold onto the ball. And the ball's rolled out of bounds somewhere over the Viojo Rainbow.
Great clearance there from Toby Pimwell. He gave the handball off to Eli Templeton, who tried to give another Hollywood handball and should have surged the ball forward.
Hello to Jenny Owens, having a bit of a listen as well. Good to hear from Mark Jones, Chris's dad, earlier, and hearing about his recovery.
So Box Hill threw O'Rourke at the ball in. He just held on to it a bit too long there. Will be a free kick. That'll go to Haratuku. Down his hands and knees. He's good below his knees, Haratuku, for a big man. So he'll kick back and find Masiti. Masiti goes down the line.
Bang.
Good kick. Pinwell with the mark. Handball over the top. They're on here if they're quick brought. In the hands of Conway. Conway looking to spot up his play. Oh, great spoil there by Fisher from Box Hill. So now Box Hill move it forward. Two Boroughs here. One way, then the other. Handball over the top there. That was by Viojo Rainbow again. They go forward now, Port Melbourne. Go inside 50, but a diving mark forward was Heatherly, who's doing a good job on Geordie Lyle. I thought Mirror might have taken Lyle today, old foes, but Kurt Headley doing a good job. So Box Hill have it. Half back. Oh, that was a terrible, terrible kick. That was by Willsmore. So Port Melbourne now go forward a one-on-one. Great mark taken by Will Hams in the last line of defence for Box Hill.
The smallest bloke out there, I think, took a great overhead mark. Out now to Moore. Moore gets it off now to his teammate in Walker. Walker off now to Warren. Warren further down the ground finds Wills completely wrong. It's Whitecross. It starts with W. I was close. Whitecross brings the ball in. Warren kept running. And Warren with the ball. Centre wing, far side of the ground as far as we're concerned, and as far as you're concerned if you're watching this on vfl.com.au. Bit undecided. He needs Lily here to give him some advice. Kicks the ball down to the half-forward flank.
We all know what she'd say.
Hi, Max. So ball in the half-forward flank, and free kick being paid, it looks like.
It was a mark actually to Myercheck. Took the mark there. They're having a good contest down there, Vickery and Myercheck. Half-forward. 24.5 minutes played this first term here at Box Hill City Oval. Box Hill lead 4-4-28. Port Melbourne 1 behind. So Port Melbourne maintaining possession through Murdoch in defence. Looks for the skipper there in Pinwell, a 202-game player. What a star he's been. His uncle's president of the Box Hill Hawks and said, I tried that many times to get him to Box Hill, but loyalty won out.
Obviously not a strong family.
Obviously not.
They're joking. Great people, the Pinwells.
Oh, they are good. Conway with it, goes to the outer side. Good punch from behind. Box Hill, they look like they're committed at the contest today. Inside 50, and mark taken by Robin Nahas. Got the short sleeves on today for something different.
Yeah, the longies on last time, didn't he?
He usually wears the long sleeves, doesn't he? Now, he will kick basically from 45, nearly on the boundary. Wrong side for the right footer. So in he comes now, Robin Nahas, trying to get Port's first major. Comes in, puts it on the boot, it's high up and under. Big pack will fly there, and it is punched and then off the boot.
The ground.
So it was punched to the goal square, and it came down, and there's a bit of a dust-up going on here.
I got a feeling the goal was by Jordan Lyle, but Brad was closer to that.
I thought it was Clark. Anyway, Brad, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was one of the smaller guys, maybe Anastasio, but I think it might have been Clark.
We'll credit Clark with it at the moment, and so we do. But that's the first goal for Port Melbourne.
I'll keep an eye on Twitter. Someone will tell you on Twitter.
Did they need it? 1-1-7, the Borough. Box Hill 4-4-28.
It was hard work too. It was real hard work to get that goal. They had to go all the way around, but it gets them on the board.
26.5 minutes played in this first turn. The digital clock's working. The old manual clock's not working. Poor Phil Beanie forgot to wind it up in there. Balled up. Going forward now. It was kicked to really no one in particular. Trying to run on and pick it up before it goes out of bounds there will be Masiti. Masiti gives it off. Through the aid now of Tynan. Port Melbourne have possession outside of Box Hill City Oval. This will dribble over the bounds being seen out by Maxie Warren. And it will be a ball in. So 27 minutes now ticked over. 4-4-28 the Box Hill Hawks. Port Melbourne 1-1-7. That's with thanks to our great friends at Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
So the ball about to be tossed in, spinning in. It worked. They're all leaving the box. So the ball tapped down in front. It's in the hands now of the Port Melbourne player. That looked like it might have been Nahas or Kane, one or the other. The ball on the ground. Could be anyone under that pack. And the umpire's going to come in and ball up just forward of the centre on the wing for the Port Melbourne side. They're attacking towards the eastern freeway or the left-hand side of your screen if you're watching this replay video. Tapped down by Haratuku. Ball goes out wider, picked up by Nahas, who's starting to become a bit more prominent in this second part of the quarter. Kicks the ball forward, and that's a terrific mark. I'd suggest that's Murdoch, is it? No, it's Clark. I beg your pardon.
It's Clark. Big fella.
He is a big fella. So Clark will be kicking from a similar position to what Nahas did before, maybe a little closer, out on quite an acute angle, wrong side of the ground for a right footer. He's going to come in from 30, kick about 40 metres. Comes in now, kicking through the ball. Goal umpire looks and goes, that's a mighty fine kick, young man. His second, we think, and he takes the second goal of the game for Port Melbourne. They now move on to 2 goals, 1-13. Box Hill 4-4-28. A 15-point lead to the Box Hill Hawks. 28.5 minutes, thanks to Dream Street Home Lending. But here is, with thanks to Justin Van Hairdressing, Patrick Hill.
Yeah, the worrying thing for me here, if I was coaching Box Hill, is just the ascendancy in the stoppages over the last 4 or 5 minutes. I think that's 3 or 4 in a row they've won now. A couple that didn't get a lot of ground, but that was a really clean exit then, and they were to hit up a target and a nice slot through.
All in time on as well. So the umpire balls it up. Pitnet got the tap down to Bully O'Donnell. Bursting through the pack, the skipper in Pimmel, but it comes down to Hams now. Pimmel butters up and lays on the tack with Nahas. That's got to be around the neck. The umpire said no, play on. So Box Hill now have possession, trying to run it through the middle of the ground here through White Cross. Coughed up though. Port Melbourne doing well here. That's with Shannon Lang. Goes to the outside of the oval. The chip kick was no good. This will probably run out of bounds. No, it's actually Box Hill who actually maintain the possession. Now with Hams, who goes backwards to the skipper in Mirror. Mirror to Warren. Warren to Willsmore. Box Hill take it from one side of City Oval to the other. No right foot there for whoever kicked that.
Stewart.
And it was Stewart. So it's with Nash at the moment. Gives it back to Warren, who's had a fair bit of it in this first quarter, been very good. Warren. Good kick with Morrison. So Box Hill, they're just maintaining possession. Just ticked over 30 minutes and the siren goes. So quarter time. The Box Hill Hawks 4-4-28. Port Melbourne 2-1-13 in this qualifying final. This is the VFL Love the Game Final Series brought to you at 94.1 FM 3WBC. We'll head back to the studio. We'll come back and get some analysis from Patrick and the rest of the commentary team after this short break.
G'day, Phil. Thank you for giving us that break. The goal kickers here, 4-4-28, Box Hill, 2-1, Port Melbourne. 4 goal kickers for Box Hill. They are Andrew Moore, Billy Murphy, Taya Miles and Dallas Willsmore. And for Port Melbourne, we think, Scott Clark certainly got 1. We think he's got 2. It was a bit hard to tell. It was a bit of flurry. And we've been watching social media to see if someone who's a bit close to the action has posted it. But we think that that is the case. We are here and broadcasting on both 3WBC and also on the VFL.com.au website with the video replay. We are fortunate to have with us, with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing, our expert comment person today is Patrick Hill, coach of the VFL women's side here at Box Hill. And Paddy, first quarter, Box Hill got off to a flyer, but Port Melbourne back into the game towards the end.
Yeah, look, I think if we looked at the way that both teams are hoping to coach this game out and how would it play out, Box Hill certainly had the best quarter. The way they used the ball, the way they used the whole ground, the movement from side to side, they really shifted Port Melbourne's defence. It looked to me like Port was coming high up the ground and they want to slingshot and get the ball out the back, and that didn't really translate as the game wore on. However, they found a way by really making it a contested game for a bit there, and they're able to 3 or 4 stoppages in a row, move the ball forward, and then they get a nice exit and hit up a target for a nice kick goal. So if I'm the coach now, I'm pretty happy if I'm Chris Newman because things are going to plan. But if I'm Gary Ayres now, I'm thinking that we haven't played our best and the plan sort of hasn't come together, but we're still in this game. So I think there's still plenty of positives for both coaches here.
And thank you, Patrick. And also, with thanks to Aaliyah Framing, we also have Tara Hill here. She might have some stats from the first quarter. Some of the key stats, please, Tara.
Look, like the scoreboard, it says the main thing was the inside 50s with Box Hill with 14 and Port with 9. The only thing lacking there were the marks inside 50, where Box Hill only had 2 and Port to 3. Everything else was pretty even. There was only 5 free kicks during the quarter, and it was 3 to Box Hill and 2 to Port.
Thank you, Tara. Sorry, we're just getting some selfies done here. Much more important than entertaining the folks sitting down. Thank you. She's doing all right for a person who said that I've got a crap radio voice and I hadn't done it before, so she's doing a great job on her debut. With thanks to M&R Davis Constructions, we have got Brad Mullen, who was with the Port Melbourne side, I believe.
Yeah, so Gary wasn't too impressed with the stoppages. The stoppages were 4 to 8, and Gary really wanted someone to pay close attention to John O'Rourke. He's getting the ball a bit too easy, Gary said. And he also just wants pressure from the forwards when that ball gets out the back, just to run and chase and pressure the ball. And
the man on the left of you was out with the Box Hill. That is Peter Lausch. What do they have to say in the Box Hill camp?
Yeah, Chris Newman was pretty happy with that first quarter. He praised the backs for all their hard work and all the pressure that they've been putting on Port. He just wants them to be very careful of the centre corridor because that's how Port got their last couple of goals. Every time they yelled slingshot, they went straight through the midfield, and he's just told them, keep an eye on it. When Port called slingshot, just cover the middle.
And Patrick, you are going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, just that slingshot there. That's exactly what we thought it looked like they were trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see, just going off the ground now, a man who's got a slightly bent face at the moment, Chris Jones, down here after that horrific head clash last week, but good to see him down there. But we're all in readiness, I think, for the second quarter. It is umpire Leighton Rowe with the ball in his hand, and here's 3WBC's Paul Hooper.
This is the VFL qualifying final. They love the game final series in the VFL. The umpire balls it up. Haratuku tries to extract the peel. He was tackled. Was he pushed in the back?
I think it was too high, but the umpire's blindsided.
He'll know when he wakes up in the morning and realise he's had Mark Pitnett on top of him.
Well, it might be fun for some, but not in the middle of a glue pot. So the umpire balls it up again. Haratuku did get the tap down on that occasion. Ball comes out to Hams for Box Hill. Gives it over the top. Comes into the hands of Glass. Glass gives it across to Willsmore. Willsmore chip kick there to Evans. Been a bit quiet in that first quarter, Nick Evans. Unable to take the mark was Vickery. Here comes Port now through Lang. So they come back down. Mark will be taken here on the by Sam Dwyer. So Dwyer goes long. Good punch from behind there against Conway, unable to take the mark. And Glass was able to punch that over the line. So I'm sure the Glass family will be watching this later on.
Yep.
It's 3 a.m. in County Derry now, so...
I reckon they'd be putting one or two cold drinks aside on a warm evening, having a listen live and then watching the replay later potentially. Spinning the ball back in is the boundary umpire. Tap down to O'Rourke. Over the shoulder, no look, hand pass, and that's how it came off. White crossing his hands and knees in there. Pinwell in under the pack. Morey intercepts his hand pass though. Kicks the ball forward in a hurry. Cut off by Masidi. He hand passes the ball off to his teammate in Murdoch, and they go towards the corridor. We heard a bit about that concern from Chris Newman. The ball now in the hands of Harvey of the Hooper family. Couldn't get the ball away. Good tackle by Mirror. Comes out now to Brodick, and Brodick takes the ball out further wide and finds his teammate on the wing.
So Box Hill, they did well then. This will be Evans. Evans gives it off to Hams. Hams went one way. He zigged when he should have zagged. Give it back to Evans there. Ball will be chipped back. They're just playing possession footy here, Box Hill. Now in the hands of Warren. Kicks it across to Headley. Headley will come across to the fat side of Box Hill City Oval. What a terrible kick. Unable to pick it up there was Morrison, but he managed to do that. They were very lucky there, the Box Hill Hawks. Got out of jail. Whitecross now. Oh, dodgy kick by Brendan Whitecross. Handball over the top. Here's Port Melbourne. Kick there by Lyle. And found his play. No, the umpire said it was at bounce. It was a half volley.
Yep.
So a couple of bad kicks here from Box Hill trying to exit defensive 50. But, you know, the work rate of the small forwards for Port Melbourne at the moment just really needs to go up. It's just too easy.
Port were unlucky there on that occasion, so the umpire has balled it up. Lyle got the kick away, but heavily tackled as he kicked it. It's gone out of bounds on the full.
Mitch Golby runs across because he's a left footer. Everyone else is cleared out and left for left footer with it because it's going to be a tight angle for him.
You're in the perfect spot here, Neil Butler.
Well, in fact, I can tell you that he's missed and he's kicked it to the near side. Box Hill 4-4-28, Port Melbourne 2-2-14. 3 minutes played in the second quarter. That's with thanks to Dream Street Lending. Ball kicked out from goal by David Mirror. Finds his teammate here and now off to O'Rourke. O'Rourke back now. Now in the hands of Morrison. One more time. Comes out further. And Stewart trying to be clever. And he actually ended up... Yeah, it gets the ball over the tape. Wasn't it? More off to Walker. And it's a Fisher. And there away. Gets the ball further down the ground. Find Hanrahan. Nobody can like Hanrahan. He kicks the ball forward. Finds Billy Murphy on the run. And probably was off, but umpire said no, he's going back over his mark to have a shot at goal from 35 metres out Paddy Hill.
That's the smartest thing you'd see from a player. He was, for the listeners out there, the ball was there, he jumped up to grab the ball. Instead of taking possession, he hit it over his own head. The player came in, missed him, and he turned around and won the ball, and now we've got a shot at goal because of it.
And Murphy,
that's all Stewart. And
Murphy has kicked his second, takes Box Hill now to 5 goals for 34. And Port Melbourne 2-2-14. And it was one of those things that was clever, but if it had gone in the hands of the other guys, we would have been laughing at him. So good work that time by Cade Stewart.
And he had great awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah, he knew exactly how many plays he had with him.
And I think if that doesn't go to him, it probably rolls out of bounds, and it's a good result anyway.
Yeah, and he had 3 Box Hill players on the tear, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that's where they got the goal from.
And it starts Tara with thanks to Leah Frame. Was that Box Hill's first inside 50 for the quarter?
Yes, it was.
So one inside 51 goal. That's good effort there.
Yeah, that hurts.
So umpire... Oh, sorry, go for it, Neil.
No, go for it. No, seriously.
Port Melbourne's kicking with a slight breeze this quarter. The breeze has just picked up.
Pinwell has the free kick out of the centre ball up. Goes back. Inside 50. Lyle was interfered with. I don't think the mark was taken. I think it was over the shoulder.
I think he paid a free, yeah.
So Lyle will go back and kick from 50 metres right on the paint.
Just down here, boys. It's going to probably start raining very, very soon, probably within the next couple of minutes, I'd say.
Thank you, Jane.
He's saying that because it's actually already started. Yeah, well done.
That's okay. So Lyle will come in. This will be a good response from Port Melbourne. Box Hill just kicking a goal to go 20 points up. So Lyle will come in, slight angle. Chewy on your boot, says the Box Hill players. That's a long, long, long kick. Straight through to centre for Jordan Lyle. Kicking with a slight breeze, but beautiful kick. Beautifully weighted. So that gives Jordan Lyle his first for the afternoon. Port Melbourne go on to 3 goals now. They've kicked 2 to Scott Clark in the first quarter, so they move on to 3-2-20. Box Hill 5-4 34. And Paddy Hill, with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing, they moved it well then through that free kick and a good mark taken.
Yeah, the free kick of the centre bounce probably really hurt him because they had an extra coming off the half-back flank. Box Hill really don't want to give away free kicks in that instance. And Kurt Heatherly, we know you're always going to earn your kicks on him.
So his 47th goal for the season. Ball comes out of the centre now, leading in the race for the ball out wide is Billy Murphy. Just needs to bounce. It does. Gravity does that. Hands it back to his teammate. Comes back inside and finds Jordan Walker. Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker. He's got the ball. He's got a player back here. Mirror is the player's name. He takes the ball just behind centre and resets for the Box Hill Hawks. Mirror takes off, a bit of a jog out wide, and then he puts it back to where it came from. Finds his teammate out there. Who's that, Hoops? You've got the binoculars.
That is Walker again, I believe. Oh, actually, it might be Nick Evans.
Evans, it is Nick Evans. So Evans on that trusty left foot kicks the ball. It flops a bit towards the end, giving the impression that the breeze is taking a bit of an effect. Ball goes outside, and that's a little bit high. And the free kick going there to, who was that? Dale Miles by the looks of it. So Miles with the free kick. He's miles out from goal, so he won't score. Kicks the ball long inside 50, looking for Pitternet. Pitternet up, couldn't hold the mark. Ball spills to the front, hands and knees the Hawks. And the Port Melbourne team defending strongly. Umpires coming in, and he will bounce the ball 35 metres out from the Box Hill goal, and they are kicking to the Eastern Freeway or left-hand side of your screen.
It was Kate Short on the bottom of that pack. Did well. Umpire balls it up. There's like an under-13s game. Players everywhere. Handball in the hands there of Pinwall. Big tackle laid on by Box Hill. Half forward there. That's through the out of Pitnet. So I'll have another ball up here right in front of the cricket nets.
Notice all the Box Hill defenders all standing behind here and giving Port the front because they're a little bit worried about that slingshot coming through.
Yep. There's a chap called Callum Post who's just said g'day to his former coach, and come on Stangers is his comment on Facebook. G'day Callum, thanks for having a listen.
Good fella Posty, really good man.
We're going to say that because he's a lot bigger than we are.
No, remember when the boys won the grand final in 2013, he was part of the group, and he and David Mirror, they came down the pub and had a couple of beers with the boys. They pressed the flesh with the locals, Neil.
He is my favourite Melbourne Cup winner.
So with thanks to M&R Davis Constructions, Peter Lausch, looks like Billy Murphy's come off with a bit of a limp.
Yeah, Billy Murphy's come off with a blood rule, and Anthony Brolick's come on. So good afternoon to the Anthony Brolick fan club,
of which you are the president. But anyway, the umpire balls it up. Here's Box Hill, a little chip kick, just not enough on it. It's gone through 4A behind. So Box Hill move on to 5-5-35. Port Melbourne 3-2-20. This is the second quarter. The VFL love the game final series. The qualifying final here between Box Hill and Port Melbourne played 9 minutes into this second term.
So the ball goes out to the half-forward flank. Kicked off the ground that time. It might have been Tynan who got the ball away, but running onto it now is Heatherly. Can't control it. He's got some company there in Anastasio. Anastasio's pressure was pretty good, but the umpire's paying a free kick, and it's going to go to Maxi Warren for an in the back. He kicks the ball back to his partner in crime in David Mirror. Didn't quite make the distance getting into him, so he had to take on the bounce. Will Hams takes the ball, runs around his opponent there in Nahas. In fact, it might have been someone else. It was, in fact, Dwyer. Through the centre it goes. Ball kick long inside 50. Coming out and almost taking a screamer there was Nash, but the ball kicked inside 50. And a mark taken there.
Oh, that's Miles.
I think you're right. I saw the two flash past and the yellow boots. So Taya Miles already has one in the first quarter. And he'll be kicking from 32.758 metres. Hoops has been out with his tape measure. And he shouldn't have any difficulty with the distance. We're right behind it. So we should be in a good position to off the boot to tell you whether it's a goal or not. Comes in now. Kicks the ball, and that has missed to the right-hand side. That's a poor miss. 5 goals, 6:36. Port Melbourne 3-2-20. 16-point lead to the Box Hill Hawks. 10 minutes into the second quarter with thanks to Dream Street Lending. Feel at home with them.
Bad miss by Miles there, Paddy. I mean, they're the ones you just got to put through.
Yeah, and the ball movement came off there, but we heard Christian spoke at quarter time about using the corridor too much, and perhaps a little lucky to get the ball through there.
Billy Murphy's getting his right ankle attended to as well. He's had the blood fixed up at the right ankle's now getting restrapped.
Thanks to Lauschie there on the boundary. Big mark taken by Geordie Lyle. Gives it off now in the hands of Templeton. Went one way, then the other on the left boot. Boxhill unable to take it on the half volley, but now it falls into the hands here of Max Warren. Been very good today, Maxie. Long left foot kick. Trying to pick it up was Dwyer. Gave it off to Viojo Rainbow, went inside 50 for the Borough. Unable to take the mark there was Clark, the big forward. Boxhill grimly defending here. Handball out. Warren back to Heatherly. Heatherly on the left boot. Oh,
hit and hope.
It was a hit and hope, and it's gone straight down the throat of the 23rd player in Callum Searle, who will go back and have a shot.
Just under huge pressure then. Great forward pressure by
he didn't get enough
Port Melbourne
forward, did he, Heatherly?
No.
That's 2 kicks in a row now where he's tried to surge a ball out from a stationary position. Now, whether that's the pressure, he's unable to move, but it always looks better when we're moving and kicking.
Lashy, what do you know about Callum Searle, if anything?
He's from the Oakley Chargers, and he's obviously played really well to retain his spot as the 23rd player in this first final for Port Melbourne. So I dare say they've got an eye on him for next year to be on the list at Port.
No relation to Peter Searle?
No relation to Peter Searle, but I don't think he's related to Doug Searle at Fitzroy either, because I think he's got an E on the surname.
Yeah, Doug Searle from Fitzroy ended up at Port Melbourne was also without an E. Brad
exactly.
Mullen, you've got something to tell us?
Yeah, just down on the boundary. Toby's back on the ground now, but they just had a check of his nose. His nose was bleeding a bit, so they just put some Vaseline on just to stop the bleeding.
That Toby being, of course, Toby Pinwall for those who are playing along at home.
Yeah, but for those who aren't Port Melbourne crazy like our boundary riders.
That's right.
And if you don't know what he looks like, just picture John Snow.
And we're not talking about the English cricketer from 1970-71. Ball going inside 50. Lyle's got a lot of company. Ball coming through. Max Warren close to best for Box Hill today. Ends up with Hams, who'd be rivalling him. Kick the ball out by Brolick. Great mark. Hand pass off now, and Willsmore is away. He's got Hanrahan streaming forward. He's got Fisher streaming forward. He has got a Ducci going in and kicking the goal. The two 23rd players having a shot at goal each. Aducci being successful, his first for the game, and that takes Box Hill further ahead. They are now 6 goals, 6-42. Port Melbourne 3-3. 21, it's a 21-point lead to Box Hill, with thanks to our friends at Just for Men Hairdressing, Patrick Hill.
Yeah, so again we've seen Box Hill straight up through the middle, high risk, high reward. So they've got the goal out of a terrific mark there, and then once that mark was taken, the handball received, they had all the numbers out the back, and there's no doubt.
That was Connor Nash who took that one-hander while fending off another player, just to show some beautiful skill there.
Absolutely. So ball in the centre, and underneath the pack there, I think it might be Stewart. He's got Mitch Golby riding him like a rodeo. And in fact, it was Bully O'Donnell. I saw the 4. Umpire going to ball it up again in exactly the same spot, but he's got a lot more players around him this time than he had before. Tapped down by Pitternet. Comes out to O'Donnell. O'Donnell to O'Rourke. O'Rourke eventually into the hands of Hams. That's hard to say. Good work. It gets it out to O'Rourke. But unfortunately for him, a good intercept mark just behind the centre for the Port Melbourne side. Kicked forward now, looking for and finding Damien Massetti, the Beverly Hills boy, green boots. And I had to get it in once, Paddy. We've got to do it once a week. Kicks the ball out wide and finds his teammate out there on the half-forward flank.
Inside 50 now go the Borough. Good mark taken by the skipper there in Dave Mirror. Was it out on the full?
Yeah.
Either way.
Good news on the Box Hill bench. Billy Murphy's ready to come back on.
Excellent. Otherwise, you're going to have to don the number 3 and run out there yourself. Yes, we all thought that was funny.
I reckon that Loushey's a bit more manscaped than Billy Murphy somehow.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
You're probably right, Hoops, and I can see you've embraced it.
I've embraced it indeed. So a ball in. See, I just deflected that. Ball in here, half forward for Port Melbourne, outside of Box Hill City Oval. You're listening to VFL Finals Football. It's the Love the Game Finals series here. 94.1 FM, also the replay on vfl.com.au. Port Melbourne now come inside 50. It was a good kick. It was sharp and taken by Dylan Conway. So Conway will go back. He's got the distance in him without doubt. Might have to actually start this a little bit right to left, I believe, the way the wind might be. And he'll kick from 45 on maybe a bit more than a 45-degree angle, Neil.
I would have said so, just a little bit more.
Good spot for the right footer.
Billy Murphy having a few run-throughs and kicks down here, so it looks like he's ready to come back on.
So Conway will come in now. He's got a long run up. He'll let go of it at 50.
Finished 4th in the Frosty Miller medal.
So Conway, it's high up and under. It's not a bad kick. Box Hill, gee, he did it well then, Pitnet, because he pretended he was going to mark it and just let it bounce off him and go through for a behind. So Port Melbourne 3-4-22, Box Hill 6-6-42. We've played 16 minutes into this second term. That's all with thanks to our great friends at Anytime Fitness in Forest Hill, 21-25 Marnie's Road.
The start of the game, Gary Ayres said they were going to be wary of Pitnet, and he's giving them every reason to at the moment. Tynan, though, gets on the half-back flank, hand passes it off now to his teammate, coming through the centre. Haas, no worries, gets the ball out wide. He finds the player there in Cook. Cook, that's a famous name in Port Melbourne football. Hooper, that's a famous name in 3WBC football, takes the mark.
Blackburn?
Oh, there too. Yeah. Have you been to the Blackburn, have you?
Yeah, once.
So Harvey Hooper takes the ball sideways. He kicks it laterally, literally laterally, and it's in the hands there of Cook again. Hand pass, kicks the ball out wide. They're just trying to rack up the stats. Back to Kane in the centre. Kane now gets the ball out wide. He finds O'Sullivan. Running past is his teammate there, and that looks like it's Cook again. He's just racking them up this particular quarter. Now it's in the hands of Sandilands. He turns around, kicks it deep inside 50. Good kick, as it turned out. Good hand in there by Walker. Picked up and kicked around the body by Pearson. And that is a great goal by Blake Pearson. His first for the day. Port Melbourne's fourth. They go to 4-4-28. Box Hill 6-6-42. And with thanks to our friends at Just for Men Hairdressing, here is our friend Patrick Hill.
So good ball control then by Port Melbourne, but I don't think the intensity on the Box Hill players to press up and put pressure on was anywhere near good enough. They were able to do that fairly easily. Chris Newman wouldn't be happy with that.
Billy Murphy's just come back on, and so is Connor Glass, Max Warren's off, and Willsmore.
Thank you very much.
So Box Hill, they've controlled this game, but Port Melbourne in this quarter making a couple of inroads. 2 goals it was at quarter time. It's 2 goals again.
So they've kicked 2 each in this quarter. Yep.
They've been pretty good, Port, though. So the tap down. Pimmel's in there on his haunches. Cade Stewart as well. Comes out to Morrison, who throws it on the boot. He just blazed away there. It was under a fair bit of pressure. But here come Box Hill now. Handball over the top. That was through Morrison again. The kick. So 3-on-1 here. Well done there. That was good work by Hanrahan. Box Hill now through Miles. Didn't have a left foot. Went and kicked it off the outside of his right foot, right down the throat there of Luke Tynan for Port Melbourne, who will relieve.
So he takes it back further to Masidi. Masidi takes it out further and finds Cook. Cook kicks the ball straight down the centre, finds his teammate Pinwell, but they're still within 25 metres of the Box Hill goal. Pinwell a bit undecided, so he takes the ball out short, kicks it over the head of his mate, overcooked it, running onto it now for Box Hill inside 50. Couldn't take the mark that time, Fisher, and Port Melbourne will relieve. They kick the ball out further and off they go.
So Port Melbourne through Anastasio, gave off the handball. Looking to come inboard. That was a good kick to pinpoint position where Lyle took the ball. Kicked it, was pretty high in the end for Harvey Hooper. It's a great name, that, isn't it, Harvey Hooper?
That's great.
Gave it
like
off
Willie
to
Wheeler,
Clark.
isn't it?
Yeah. It's Ron Jeremy-esque. So going long there is Nahas. It's a long kick. He's kicked that.
Yep.
And he's actually kicked that off a couple of steps from 50 metres. Port Melbourne surging back here. That will be Nahas's first for the afternoon. And Port Melbourne making inroads into the Box Hill lead. So they get a bit closer now. 6-6-42, the Box Hill Hawks. It's an 8-point ball game. Port Melbourne 5-4-34. And with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing, this is Paddy Hill.
So they got out the back then, and they had a lot of loose numbers streaming. So Box Hill worked really hard to get behind the ball. The issue was that all of them went behind the ball. We had 3 spares in the goal square. No one to defend the players high up around the 50. They were able to chip back inboard and then go straight over top of those spares. Need to come back and locate quickly.
So Pitternet gets the ball down. Stewart on his hands and knees at the bottom of the pack. Hand passes it out to Whitecross. Whitecross is bumped as he tries to get rid of it. And now he's tackled. Umpire says, I'll come in and ball it up. It's umpire Leighton Rowe with his mates Jack Edwards and Michael Curtis out there today. This is 3WBC football. Also on VFL.com.au today. Ball is going nowhere. Gives us an opportunity to tell you that every week that Box Hill plays 94.1 FM, 3WBC broadcasts the games live.
Whether you like it or not.
That's right. You don't have to listen, but we love the fact you do. And Cade Stewart's going to be washing his jumper when he gets home. He's got that much mud on it.
I don't think they wash their own jumpers. However, here come Port Melbourne again. Inside 50. 2-on-1. Good punch from behind by Mirror. Well defended. But here's Port again. Chip over the top, trying to run onto it and collect it. Was Pearson who kicked a goal earlier in the quarter. We'll come to Tara Hill in a few moments at the next stoppage for some stats that matter, with thanks to a layer framing. Willsmore, gee, it wasn't a good kick. He was trying to pinpoint more there. Pinwall, he got the handball out. Good work by O'Rourke. Back to Connor Glass. Glass gave it up to Willsmore. Willsmore goes back there to Mirror. Mirror across the little chip kick to Glass. He was lucky. He nearly marked it and ran straight into the fence.
It's looked to him to compose the ball for a little bit here.
I just like Dallas Willsmore to use that left foot to kick the ball longer than he does.
He's a beautiful kick too.
It's a great kick of the football. He just never kicks it that far anymore.
So Sandilands takes it half forward there for Port Melbourne. Comes inside the centre square. He's Port now. It's just taking a little bit too long. And the kick wasn't a good one either. They try and pick it up now, Port Melbourne, through Lyle, but he gave up the handball instead. One way, then the other. There goes Tynan. Was that Conway? Clanger. Kick high up and under. Big pack will fly here.
Gutsy. That is fantastic.
And you know what? The free kick has been paid here to Box Hill.
Smallest
bloke with all that mud.
I'm not sure what the free kick was for, but it was gutsy.
He called it for hitting him with a forearm. That's what he called it for. Okay. Whether it was right or not is another question, but it was Kate Stewart.
Just going for the ball.
Yeah. I think he might have made contact with the forearm on his face, which is where the umpire called it from.
So they really want to slow it down here a little bit now and just control the ball for a bit.
So there he is again. He's kicked that 25 metres, Willsmore. Such a potent weapon, that left foot. Morrison kicks the ball long now, down the line. Don't know who that was that went up. It was Vickery, and it was just a silly attempt because he was nowhere near it. It's going to be a free kick paid to Port Melbourne. That might be Cook getting the mark.
Bit of Bronx cheers then. I think the Port Melbourne supporters think they've been hard done by here, which is unusual.
Because that would be, like, we only see that when they play against Box Hill. We don't see it normally. Ball comes out now to Kane. He was able to take the mark. Kane, he gets the ball off to Nahas. Nahas had better get rid of it in a hurry because he's being chased. Kicks it towards centre half forward. Mirror with the punch. Ball comes down. It is Evans. Great tackle, Evans. It could have been Haratuku being tackled. Ends up in the hands of Whitecross. And Whitecross brings the ball out and kicks it directly to his opposition player in Nahas.
May as well kicked it long on that occasion and cleared the defensive 50. Nahas kicks long towards the top of the square. Big flyers there, but no one took the mark. Kick around the corner. This will be close. Now gone through for a behind now. 5-6-36 is Port Melbourne. Box Hill 6-6-42. We've got a 6-point ball game. We're into time on now. Played just on 24 minutes of this second term with thanks to Zadie's Rainbow Foundation, our community sponsor. Organ and tissue donor awareness. Talk to your kids about it. Inspire discussion, zadie.org.au.
So the ball brought back inside 54. The Borough out of bounds in the forward pocket. With thanks to our friends at the Lear Framing, we've got Tara Hill here who is doing some stats for us. And what do you got?
Well, it's definitely the change around in the inside 50s from the last quarter. Porter leading them at 15-6 to Box Hill. So definitely, sorry. The clearances. Box Hill are leading in the clearances 6-1. So
that's a bit of a surprise, I've got to say.
They're getting it out, but I think just after a couple of kicks, they're out turning it over.
Not only is she taking the stats now, she's analysing the game.
That's right. Well, we now know who really coaches the AFL women's side, the VFL women's side. Ball kicked quickly forward. Out of bounds.
There's also a daughter very involved as well.
Yeah, and poor old Cody's out there just having to chat up all the girls in the crowd.
So Cody's now officially the most useless one in our family.
Well, he's armless at the moment.
He asked me if I could buy him a bottle of champagne at halftime.
Yeah.
He's dressed to impress.
So the ball is out of bounds in the forward pocket for the Port Melbourne side. Shot at goal. I'll ask Hoops who that is because he's got the binoculars. It's Dwyer. He is about to try and have a shot at goal. No, he's not. He's put it at the top of the square. Dave Mirror punches the ball as he's been doing all his life as far as I can see. At the top of the goal square, it is scrambly play. Umpire Leighton Rose says, I think I will come in and ball it up. 6-6-42 Box Hill, 5-6-36 Port Melbourne. It's a goal of difference, 25.5 minutes played. Dream Street Lending are the supporters of our scoreboard today.
We love John Chronis.
G'day, Johnny. So ball at the top of the square, kicked forward by Glass, ends up in the hands of Moore. Moore. How do you like it? Kicks it outside, but he's just kicking it straight to Damien of the Mercedes family.
So Mercedes goes inside 50. It was a flat kick. Fell into the breadbasket there of David Mirror, the skipper for Box Hill, who'll take the resulting kick. Gives it to Mirror. Mirror to Heatherly. It's a strong back three. Don't worry about the back six. It's a strong back three there. And of course, Dave Mirror was injured for a few weeks. Max Warren did an admirable job as skipper. Heatherly now goes long, looking for Fisher. Fisher flies. He couldn't take the mark there. And it was in the hands there of Mychek. He gave a handball off, though. Picked up by Lang. Lang gave it off. Laushi could have flown for that, I reckon.
Yeah.
But mark taken. It was high up and under. I'm surprised we went the required distance.
That was an accidental mark then.
Morrison kicked it to Glass.
Yeah, has Tara got a section on her sheet there for accidental marks?
Glass goes long. He kicks to space here. That was dangerous stuff. Murphy puts on the afterburners. Does pretty well, but gee, good work by Port Melbourne. That was through Dwyer. He picked it up and gave the handball off. Port Melbourne now with possession. Coughed it up though. Murphy butted up well. Gives it across there to O'Rourke. O'Rourke looks to go towards the inside 50 mark, taken there by Hanrahan.
So Hanrahan gets it off to Evans of the Nick variety. He kicks it towards goals and misses. Should have taken his time and gone back and had a kick probably. Kicked in a hurry. Box Hill 6-7-43. Port Melbourne 5-6-36 in the shadows of half-time. Port Melbourne trailing by 7 points. Ironically, Box Hill leading by the same margin. Ball kicked out to the half-back flank. Two Box Hill players almost spoil each other, but the mark taken there by Connor Glass.
We like Connor.
Hello to you, Connor.
Come on, boys. That's a Southern Island accent.
Oh, sorry.
He's a dairy man.
He's a dairy man. Inside 50 now. So Box Hill.
I'm impressed you picked it as a Southern Irish accent. Most people might have said that was somewhere from the subcontinent, the way I do my accents.
My father-in-law, Jerry, hello to him in Thailand. He's from Derry, so I'm quite astute in the Irish accents.
Excellent.
Here we go. So Box Hill, half forward. They'd like another goal before half time. Port Melbourne being good in this quarter. It's a close contest, just a few points. Picked it up, and a little shot there by Hanrahan. That's gone through for a behind. So Box Hill move on to 6-8-44. They're 8 points clear now of the Borough. 5-6-36. Been an enthralling contest in this second quarter. 28 minutes played with thanks to Tobin Brothers Funerals. Celebrating lives, tobinbrothers.com.au.
Paddy, I would have thought that Box Hill have just stabilised things a little bit in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Box Hill were coming. Port Melbourne were coming, weren't they?
Yeah, they certainly were, and they've dominated this quarter. I don't remember a game that I've watched where it's lived inside forward 50 as much as this game has, either team, and both teams have struggled to get it from one arc to the other. Once it gets there, it's staying there, and where it is at the moment is exactly where Box Hill needs it for the rest of this quarter.
So Murphy dodging, weaving and pulling himself away from tackles, and that is an extraordinary piece of play when you look at it. Ends up in the hands of Hams. Hams tackled. Should have been pinged for holding the ball, I would have thought.
Clearly.
But there again, it only happened just in front of the umpire, so maybe I'm wrong. It's Port Melbourne with the ball in deep in defence. That's Cook kicking it out wide and finding his teammate out there is that Kane with the ball? Dwyer, sorry. They look the same because they're wearing the same jumpers.
Different gate, mate.
And... oh, sorry. G'day to Doma having a bit of a listen. Listening to your call today. Sounding razor sharp, the boys, he said. Good. Oh, might have been a bit stiff that time, Port, because they've just kicked a goal, but the umpire has said the siren is gone. It is half-time here. It is Box Hill 6 goals 8. They kicked 2 goals 4 in that quarter. That's 44 to 5 goals 6-36. That quarter, Port Melbourne kicked 3 goals 5. It is an 8-point lead to the Hawks at half-time. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a news break, in fact. Phil's going to give us the daily news, and then we're going to come back and hear what Patrick Hill has got to say. We might also talk to the lads about the games yesterday that they attended. This is 94.1 FM, 3WBC Football, and VFL.com.au. G'day, Phil. Thanks to you and to the newsroom for our entertainment during the halftime break. We do need to say g'day to a couple of people having a listen. Puggle certainly having a listen. Puggle, you'll be pleased to know that the folk who were up in that cherry picker on Middleborough Road have moved, so they've obviously gone home or come into the ground and watched the game properly. Also g'day to Doma, Doma being the better looking half, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying that, of the Doma and Daddy Who combination that's on our wireless 3 till 5 every Saturday afternoon when the football's not on. Hard Rock Hits with Doma and Daddy Who. Fantastic program. It's lost a bit since that guest host Neil Butler was on it a few years ago, but subsequently they've done all right. This is half-time of the game between Box Hill and Port Melbourne, as Phil just told you. Box Hill 6-8-44, Port Melbourne 5-6-36, goal kickers 2 to Billy Murphy, singles to Moore, Miles, Aducci and Willsmore, and for Port Melbourne individual, Scott Clark we think has 2. The first one we're not 100% sure was him, but we're pretty much sure it was. Lyle, Nahas and Pearson 1 each. But this is the third game in a 4-game weekend in the Peter Jackson VFL Love the Game Finals Series. Yesterday, 2 games were played. Interestingly, both losing sides kicked 11 goals, 773. There's a little bit of trivia for you. But in the game that was held at Burbank Oval, as it is now no doubt at Point Gellibrand in Williamstown, 18-10, 118. Casey Demons 11-7-73. And that occurred... we've had it updated. In fact, Searle was the other goal kicker, not Clark. Thank you to Paddy Hill for passing that information on to us. But in that game, Williamstown 18-10, 118. Casey Demons 11-7-73, meaning Williamstown are into the preliminary final and get a week off. Casey Demons to play either Essendon or Footscray. We sent live to that game our own boundary rider, Peter Lausch. And Lauschie, a strange game of footy. Oh, hang on. Sorry, your microphone's not on. You reckon I'd get that right after a while, wouldn't you? Yep.
Yeah, no, a very strange game of football. Like, the first quarter was pretty evenly matched with Williamstown kicking 3 goals to Casey Demons 2, but the second quarter, Williamstown just put the foot down on the accelerator, kicked 7 goals to 2, and had a good, healthy lead at half-time, and we thought, okay, how far Williamstown? Come to third quarter, Casey came back, kicked 6 goals to nothing, and there was a 1-point 3-quarter time lead to Williamstown. And we thought,
across that, Casey kicked 9 goals in a row.
Yeah, and that sort of 6 goals, 9 goals, and then Williamstown in the last quarter with the wind. Kicked 8 goals to then eventually have a 45-point win. Aaron Sipos was the main goal kicker for Williamstown with 5 goals, and Sam Donnell with 4. And
he kicked 3 of those 5 in the last quarter by the looks of it.
Yeah, and so a very good effort by Williamstown to sort of come back from the Casey onslaught of the third quarter. And obviously deserve their spot in the preliminary final in 2 weeks' time at North Port Oval.
So the goal kickers for Williamstown, 5 to Sipos, 4 to Donnell, 2 to Meeson, Schultz, 1 each to Marcon, Kavara, Bewley, Cordy and Masters. For the Casey Demons, 4 to Fritsch, including a sensational mark. Yeah. I saw on the replay, 3 to Scott, 2 singles to Morris, Bug, Kennedy and Maynard. Some of the better players, Williamstown, Sipos, Schultz, Meese. Some of the better ones for Casey, Frisch, Brayshaw and Keelty.
I'd be looking at Fritsch as a possible rookie draft pick in the upcoming AFL draft. He's just a very good forward for Casey at the present minute, and obviously was also in the stateside earlier this year.
And we'll bring you in here, Paddy, as well, because you would have seen the Richmond Collingwood game yesterday.
No, I saw a bit of the one we just spoke about there.
Sorry.
But I left it about halfway through the third when Williamstown was well and truly in control, and then by the time I got out to Docklands, they were a point down. So
they're asking you back. Obviously, they asked you to come back for the last quarter, and away you went. Well, in the game between Richmond and Collingwood, Richmond 12-13-85, Collingwood 11-7-73. The last goal kicked by Jake Batchelor to just pull away to win by 12 points. Goal kickers for Richmond, 3 to Moore, 2 to Bolton. Singles to Ellis, Hunt, Batchelor, Lloyd, Lennon, Miles and Griffiths. Collingwood 3 to Cox, 2 to Main. Each singles to Blair, Dacos, Thomas, Kirby, White and Blair. Some of the better players for Richmond. Miles, Ellis and Lloyd. Better players for Collingwood. Borthwick, Cox and Blair. You saw some of this game, Peter.
Yeah, a very interesting game in the sense that Collingwood only kicked one behind in the first quarter and only one goal for the first half, and we're 29 points down at half time. But in the third quarter, they restricted Richmond to just 2 goals to and kicked 5 goals to themselves, and it was only 11 points at three-quarter time. At the 30-minute mark of the last quarter, scores were all tied up at 73 apiece, and I thought, okay, here we go, extra time. But luckily, Sam Lloyd and Batchelor kicked the 2 goals to win through to next week against the Casey Demons, and that's the end of Collingwood VFL for the year as well. So.
Indeed. So, and that'll be probably played next Saturday, you would expect.
Next Saturday afternoon at 2:40 at Northport, or Fort Burns Stadium as they're calling it during the final series.
As they're now calling it, yes, indeed. So, this is half-time. The Port Melbourne players are back on the ground. There's a bit of an assembly of kids hanging around the race at the Box Hill end, which means they're not far away from coming out. An interesting thought crossed my mind, which in itself is unusual, Paddy, that an interesting thought crossed my mind.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is the first time that Box Hill have gone into a final series without Hawthorn playing. Yeah. What impact does that have on Box Hill and their ability to pick the players they want to pick, rather than, because obviously when Hawthorn are playing in final series, they can pretty much pick who they like.
Yeah, unless it's a Ben McAvoy and we've got to go to the tribunal to find out if he can play. No, I think there's two sides to the equation. No, some of those players that have played in the past aren't available, but it's a much more settled lineup. And you also haven't got the situation where Chris is having to drop players that have been standout players all year to bring a Hawthorn player back in. So you'll find it's a lot more galvanising. The group will be much closer together. There's opportunities there for people that have played well. And, you know, you can actually pick a side on paper that's a structured team where sometimes you have to play 4 talls or 5 talls, or you're playing a lot of backmen and playing them in the different position just to get him in and get him into the side. So it could go either way.
The one that surprised me that has been dropped for this game at Box Hill is Nelson Lane, because he's been really, really good all year, and he was running around in the Development League at Williamstown yesterday morning. So I'm just wondering, was that team balance, or is there something what Chris Newman saw that he didn't like and he thought a week in the Development League wouldn't be a bad move?
No, look, I don't know the answer to that question, so I'm only guessing, but it just looks to me like that's a measure of the strength of the side this week, and you know, they've got 2 to pick from, and someone's got to go, and I suppose it's up to the others then to do their job to hold on to their spots.
The man we call the Jazz Club, Nelson Lane, he missed a game a couple of weeks ago. I think that was also against Port Melbourne.
Essendon, he missed the game, okay. For O'Mara.
And, you know, it was O'Mara that came in at that stage. Today, you'd think it was someone like a Morrison coming back that has caused him to miss the boat, but you'd think he'd be number 24 on the list. You'd think he would be the one to come in. It was interesting, though, Paddy, yesterday, all 4 of the players who missed out from the 27, that's Braden Kilpatrick, Liam Cox, Nelson Lane and Aidan Kennedy, all played in the development game yesterday. They didn't actually carry a player across.
Yeah, and all played pretty well too. I thought Kennedy's game was quite good, so does give some options going forward. And as I said at the start of the day, the list's starting to come together for Chris.
But would that be considered a risk that they played all 4, that they didn't carry a player over in case someone got, you know, was crook overnight or something?
I think at this level, I think generally you pretty much know by Thursday. I mean, if you know, you know. I mean, it's
so there's no one in doubt.
Yeah, it just means that there's no one in doubt. If there's someone in doubt, they would have held one over. But
I'm guessing the one that they were considering holding over would have probably been Nelson Lane, because he wasn't actually sighted on the ground in the first quarter. It took a while for me to work out who the 4th player was.
That could have been because there was a fitness test going on at the same time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I do recall with some fondness, I think it was Tony Armstrong, the Collingwood player who played a VFL game down at Geelong, finished the game, had a pie, had a hot dog, had a can of Coke, and halfway up the Geelong Road got a phone call saying, listen, sport, you're actually playing tonight against Brisbane. So the poor bloke had...
not poor bloke, 2 match fees.
2 match fees, but 72 possessions later, or whatever it was. That was in the days when they had subs, and they made him the sub. But whoever it was that went off in the first quarter, went off about 10 minutes in the first quarter and didn't come back. So I reckon he would have slept well that night. It's half-time here at Box Hill City Oval, and all the players back on the ground. Umpires are pretty much ready to go. The 5 interchange players for Port Melbourne running towards the bench, so not long before we kick off again. Paddy, as the coach, you would have had a chat to the boys at half-time. What does Chris Newman tell them? how do they bring this game home?
Yeah, look, I like their ball movement in the first quarter a lot better than it was in that, because very stagnant in that quarter. They turned it over, very risky coming back through the corridor. The first quarter they really moved and shifted the defence to get them as wide as possible, used the whole ground, and if I was Chris, I'd say I want to go back to that. Port Melbourne, they'd be really pleased. I thought their small forwards really started to come into the game. I was pretty critical at the start of that quarter, the lack of pressure putting on, but they all improved their work rate and really forced some of those Box Hill turnovers. So for me, if I'm Gary Ayres, I'm talking about that pressure that they were able to put on. They've picked a side with small forwards, but they need to deliver the defensive stuff as well.
So there he is, Patrick Hill, our expert commentator today. Also, of course, fills in the rest of the season being a coach for the Box Hill VFL women's side. We also have Tara Hill in statistics today. There are more hills than the Mount Dandenong Rangers. The ball's up in the centre and Pitternet taps the ball down, coming through underneath the pack. Surprise, surprise, Pinwall, but a kick forward quickly by O'Rourke. Goes inside 50.
The wrong way.
He's kicked it the wrong way. He has to. He'll be embarrassed. Is there a fine for doing that?
But at least he found a player.
That's right. It was a good kick in that respect. He's brought it back into the centre. This time it was Moore. Gets it off to O'Rourke. He knows which way he's going now. Max Warren kicked the ball forward inside 50. It's the first inside 50 of the quarter. Vickery interfered with. Ball said, no, the umpire said play on. Ball kicked out of defence. Leading in the race for the ball, it is David Mirror, and he's going to call for deliberate. Umpire says, I don't think so. And he's going to throw the ball back in. Joining us back in commentary, Paul Hooper for 3WBC Football.
So the umpire ready to ball it in, half forward for Port Melbourne, half back for the Box Hill Hawks, out of side of Box Hill City Oval. So the ball will come tumbling in now. It was Haratuku who got the tap down unopposed in the end. Punched forward inside 50, picked up by Will Hams for Box Hill. Throws it on the left boot. Good long kick. He was actually trying to look there for Miles, but good mark take by Tynan for Port Melbourne. So the switch is on now. Gee, it wasn't the best kick there. But Port Melbourne, they maintain possession in the hands now there of Myercheck.
Good shepherd by the umpire.
Good player, Myercheck. Son of the great Jack who played for Essendon. Port Melbourne with possession, just maintaining it at the moment. Coming to half forward. Flying was Clark, couldn't take the mark. In the hands of Box Hill, through Warren. They move it swiftly now, Box Hill. It's in the hands now of Willsmore. Willsmore chips it across to Moore. Box Hill maintaining possession. It's a bit sloppy at the moment, though, but they've still got possession. One way, then the other. Chain of handballs. All sold the player there in Whitecross up the creek. But Box Hill still able to go inside 50. Big fly at the front there from Vickery. Couldn't take it. Fisher gave it across
Great
there.
hands.
That was good by Hanrahan, and he has kicked a goal. So Box Hill get the first goal of the third quarter, just a couple of minutes in. So that was, you can mark that one down to Oliver Hanrahan for his first.
And I think a contender for the goal of the day, supported by Aaliyah Framing.
Yes, Aaliyah Framing goal of the day. 7-8-50 Box Hill. Port Melbourne 5-6-36. 2.5 minutes played into this third term with thanks to Dream Street Lending, dreamstreet.com.au, and with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing at Forest Hill. This is Paddy Hill.
Yeah, much better use of the ball to open the ground up there. I think probably a fraction lucky to get that free kick, but then wanted to move it on quickly. Got it down to a 2-on-2. Great crumbing, great handball.
Tap down the centre. Moore gets the centre clearance, kicks it inside 50, looking for Vickery. Vickery got one arm being held, but umpire said that's okay because they're both playing the ball. Ends up with Moore again. He gets it back to O'Rourke. O'Rourke back to Moore, and Moore just kicks the chip kick just to give them stability and find his teammate out there on the wing. Coming inside 50 now. Pitternet running in, couldn't take the mark. Ended up, there's a free kick, and the free kick will go to Lucas Cork for a jumper hold, and a good pick up there by Patrick Hill, because I couldn't see what it was for. G'day to Anthony Stangitz, the Manager of Communications Talent at AFL Victoria, who lets us know this is the first time Box Hill have played finals without Hawthorn playing finals since 2009.
2009, remember it well, and they won the flag in 2008, missed in 2009, Hawthorn, and they had a bit of a function here on that first final for the Hawthorn players.
Well, while you were out having a chat to some of our supporters out there, we talked about the impact of not having Hawthorn playing in the finals and the impact that would have on the Box Hill side in this final series.
So the umpire now balls it in. In front was Nash. Couldn't get the tap down. Thrown on the boot there, and that is, he doesn't like it. I think that could be O'Rourke, is it? Yes, it is. So
he doesn't like it because he got nothing for it.
Well, he got nothing at all. So Box Hill 50, leading Port Melbourne 36, thanks to Budget Car and Truck Rentals, budget.com.au. This is a VFL qualifying final, the VFL Love of the Game final series.
Don't see that very often. And out of bounds on the full, free kick being kicked out of bounds on the full. So it's coming back.
Too far out, 55 metres.
So inside 50. The ball holding up a bit in the breeze. Cade Stewart in the front takes a great grab. Sticky hands. Gee, I tell you what, he's put some of that resin on his hands at half time because that ball stuck in his fingers. But just held up in the breeze quite a bit, didn't it?
I mean, has the breeze turned around at all? Thanks to M&R Davis Constructions, our boundary boys.
Yeah, the breeze is still going towards the White Horse Road end of the ground. So
must have got caught in a swirl because that just sort of held up, didn't it?
It is a bit of a swirler, but Box Hill probably got the slight advantage this quarter, so they need to make the most of this.
I think you'll find from that pocket there, like while it's going to White Horse Street, and it generally blows to that pocket, and where that out of bounds was, you're almost still arcing into the breeze.
Okay. So it looks like it's Taya Miles with the ball now because Stewart passed it off. Miles comes in, kicks, and that is a very, very, very good kick. His second for the day. Box Hill's second for the quarter, and they go to 8-8-56. Port Melbourne yet to score in this quarter, 5-6-36, now out to a 20-point lead. And Paul Hooper waving the Taya Miles shirt that he's just been and bought. And boy, you're going to look good in that, almost as good as me in the pair of shorts I just bought.
Well, these aren't for me, these are for my crazy Hawthorn and Box Hill supporting wife, Taya Miles' training shirt.
We'll get Taya to sign it later. With thanks to Justin Van Hairdressing, Patrick Hill, great kick that time by Taya Miles, his second for the day.
Yeah, lovely. You just see that curling round suggested the wind is probably going more to the pocket. Port just need to get their hands on the ball here. I don't think they've had much of it, many possessions so far.
So Anastasio does just that, kicks it inside 50. That's also holding up in the breeze. Couldn't take the mark that time. Looked like it might have been Lyle. Couldn't mark it. Comes out now to Heatherley. Heatherley does what would best be described as a hit and hope. And that's going to end up... No, Lucas Cook couldn't hold the mark. Out there to 2-on-1. Box Hill player underneath the pack. I can't see who it is because he's laying on his back.
I reckon that could be Warren.
And... I tell you what, Luke Tynan knows who it is because he's laying on top of him. In fact, it was Nicky Evans. Nick Evans. And one of the Port Melbourne players is down and looks hurt. Looks like it's Hugh Sandilands, and the runner is calling for the trainer to come out. Didn't see what happened. I think it was just landing on top of him.
No, look, he looked to be getting to his feet. All of a sudden he went. I actually saw him going down. I didn't see what happened to make him go down though. So it was after the ball up was called. And
it doesn't appear to have been something malicious because there's no pushing and shoving, is there?
There's no demonstration.
So it looks like it might have been an accidental fall or something. But anyway, Hugh Sandilands, former Hawk, of course. We know Hughie pretty well here. Looks a bit like he's not working too well at the moment, and they're going to lead him off the ground. He's played well so far today, Sandilands. He's been solid in defence. And
broken nose.
You reckon?
Yep.
So, hello to the Sandilands family if you're having a listen. He's up and about. He won't look as beautiful as he did before the game by the sound of it.
So, Port just reshuffling their back line here. Murdoch was forward. They've just pushed Murdoch back.
Holding his jaw, actually.
Okay. So, running off the ground. Free kick to Port Melbourne. It's an awful kick. Hang on. Now, there's a Box Hill player down, and they're going to take the ball back. And
bring it over the mark.
Yep. But the Box Hill player didn't see why he was down on his haunches.
We'll get Brad Mullins to keep an eye there on Hugh Sandilands. I think it's a jaw by the looks of it. He's sort of wiggling it around as he... and
he's doing the same to his jaw.
Taking him straight up the rooms, boys.
So Pinwell with the free kick, kicks the ball towards the 50-metre line. Everybody up, nobody down. Ball fell to the ground and dribbling out. That was Patrick Hill going, for those who are wondering who that was. That was outstanding. Now there's a race on. Billy Murphy ahead of Luke Tynan, and he's got no one to go to, so he just pauses for a moment. Good use of the footy here because he's going to bring it back to his teammate. Umpire said it bounced before he got to it, so he's now going to have a kick forward. We're going to just knock Brad's microphone down to get rid of that static. Pinwell with the ball, hand passes it, and Port Melbourne are going to bring it up through the centre through Kane.
So Port Melbourne now, they come through the centre of Box Hill City Oval. Mark taking it half forward. Big fellow in Howard Tuku goes on the left boot. Two players collide. One was Lyle running onto it now. Just had to get rid of it there into the hands of Anastasio. And Anastasio goes one way within the other, and he has kicked the goal. Gee, they did well out of fence then. I'll just ask Paddy Hill for this in a moment because Box Hill had control of it in the forward line through Murphy. Ty Vickery did not make enough space. He was one-on-one, should have made more space to give more options, and in the end, Box Hill spilled it up. So, Port Melbourne, 6-6-42. The Box Hill Hawks are 8-8-56, with thanks to Dream Street Lane, with thanks to our great friends there at Just for Men Hairdressing. This is Patrick Hill.
Yeah, so I think that's what you saw there. We spoke about earlier about shallow entries, and I reckon when you're playing against a team that likes to slingshot, you're most dangerous going inside your forward 50 if you end up shallow in the corridor. And that's what happened. They went shallow, they got smothered, and they're able to springboard for there with plenty of players out.
Great clearance by Cade Stewart, gets the ball inside 50. It was Bully O'Donnell who ended up kicking it. But Port Melbourne player in all sorts of strife there. Umpires paid a free kick for in the back.
That is unbelievable.
And it will be a free kick to Brodie Myercheck.
But you know what, from a coaching point of view, that's a better result than the last of it. It's nice and deep, and look at this, now we've got the turnover.
So it's all the Box Hill crowd quite emotional in regard to that decision there.
Well, I thought it was holding the ball. Good crowd in too, very, very healthy.
Now, we can't be sure they're healthy, but we'll get a doctor to check them shortly.
But while that was happening, while everyone thought it might have been a free kick, Port were actually running away with the ball. It forced them to go back over the mark, intercept mark, shot at goal. And that's why sometimes, those free kicks can be a good thing.
So that was a shot at goal by Brolick, and he missed. So hello to the Brolick family, who are regular listeners to this broadcast, and goodness only knows why.
Fantastic family.
Yeah, there's Peter Lausch looking for an adoption.
Invite for dinner.
Yeah, so ball now in the hands of Maxie Warren, running around in circles like he's being chased by our other boundary rider. Ends up in the hands of David Mirror, who brings it through to Morrison. He has got Whitecross in so much space in the middle of the ground. He's got other players out here as well. Whitey was looking a bit surprised he didn't get it. Ends up in the hands of Willsmore. Willsmore demonstrating that he does in fact possess a right foot. Never seen him use it.
Gut-busting running there by Whitecross.
He finds Whitecross, who's chased miles to get there. Not miles in Taya, as in distance miles.
So Whitecross, it's a big kick long inside, 50, sun in the eyes. Fisher used his body pretty well there, but couldn't take the mark. Box Hill, through the aid there of Evans, has a shot at goal, and that will go through. No, it won't. It will go out of bounds on the full. We'll have a kick in. The Box Hill, they did it well. They had 3 to choose from when the switch was on. So mounting up now, and that was beautiful work there by Brolick. Brolick on the right boot, comes back inside 50, held up in the breeze.
Bit easy.
Yeah, it was a good mark taken though. Eyes only for the ball there. That was Cook for Port Melbourne. 15-point ball game in favour of Box Hill. 12 minutes gone in this third term. Out of sight of Box Hill City Oval. 2 Box Hill players spoiled each other there. Glass was able to punch it forward. Hooper punched it where he should have probably grabbed it. Nash coming forward there. Hotly in pursuit is Tom O'Sullivan. Box Hill.
Can someone cue the Benny Hill music, please?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, but here's Box Hill over the top. One way, then the other. It's gone out of bounds. Zigged when it should have zagged that ball. But Box Hill, good forward pressure, being able to keep it in there. 15 points in front of the Port Melbourne Borough. Huge crowd in here today, really healthy.
Yeah, it's kept on building since quarter time as well, which is a positive sign for the VFL.
I've seen Kenny Lou around. He'll give us a wave shortly.
It was because they heard you were on the radio, Laushy. And so the ball tapped down by Pitternet, running into the centre, ending up in the hands of Masidi. O'Sullivan goes out backwards, ends up in the hands now of Hooper. That's a funny surname. Who'd called their child Hooper? The ball now in the hands of the Port Melbourne side as they run it down the far side of the ground. Good effort by Jordan Lyle to get in front of Heatherly and take a strong mark. So Lyle puts the ball high. He's got a teammate out there, and that looks a bit like it might be somebody from Port Melbourne. I can't tell you who it is, but it's almost a mark to Searle. Hand pass comes out from the Hawks. Underground hand pass. They're in a bit of strife here, the Hawks, but good work by Warren. Hand pass was smothered, though, from Evans. Kicked forward by Lyle and going up and taking mark. No, Templeton spilled it, so it's now in the hands of Heatherly. Heatherly hand passes it off now to O'Donnell. O'Donnell further on. They're not out of the woods yet, the Hawks. Hand pass out now to Stewart, and now they've got a bit of breathing space. Comes out now to Hanrahan. He hand passes it further on to Willsmore, and Willsmore uses his left foot and finds Aducci. Mama.
So, Aducci, centre wing for Box Hill, broadcast side of Box Hill City Oval. Wasn't the best kick, one hand then two. The umpire paid that.
Even though he never actually held
never
it.
Had it, never had it.
The first touch.
No, you're right. So it's in the hands now there of Hanrahan. Goes inside, 50. And taking the mark, there is Nick Evans. He'll go back, looking to kick a goal for the Box Hill Hawks. So Box Hill, they did it the hard way then, coming out of defence, but made something out of nothing in the end. Maybe luck was a bit on the Hawks' side. So Evans will go back. He'll kick from 40, pretty much directly in front. So coming in now, the left foot. He sprayed it to the right, and that is out of bounds on the full. Okay, so in defence here, Port Melbourne kicking out. Big pack of players. Flying was Haratuku, didn't take the mark in the end.
Oh, good kick.
That was really good work there by Pearson. Goal kick in the second quarter. Gives it off. Here comes Port. That's through Clark. Clark goes forward.
That's a disappointing kick.
That is poor in the end.
He had Lyle 20 metres in the clear.
He was trying for Lyle. He was a bit under pressure there, but Heatherly, he's been great in defence. Kurt Heatherly in the hands there of Warren.
He's been all right today too, the old
very
Maxi
good.
boy.
O'Rourke outside of the ground. Chris Kane standing the mark. So Box Hill, they've sort of had control of this game, but without being completely dominant. 36 points, said one of our boundary riders, in favour of Port Melbourne.
We've dispatched him off to get some more batteries because his microphone stopped working. In case you're wondering where Brad's gone, folks. So, sorry, you go.
Warren, sorry, they go backwards now to Heatherly. Heatherly, you've got to be careful of this stuff here. In the hands of Willsmore, been very good today as well. The skipper in mirror. Goes back. Nash just gave him something to think about, but mirror, that was beautifully weighted there to Willsmore, who handled over the top. Miles was in trouble. Saw the footsteps of Big Viojo Rainbow coming towards him. Now it's with Haratuku. Haratuku gives it off there to O'Sullivan. Sullivan's turned it over now. It's in the hands there of Jordan Walker.
He's been a bit of a quiet achiever this year. Started the season playing development. He's just snuck into the side and held his position through the game. Stewart's got into the centre. That's a poor kick. Cut off in the centre. Not very hard to cut. I could have caught that. It was Kane who kicks the ball inside 50. Two Port Melbourne blokes left it for each other. Running onto it now, Heatherly. Heatherly gets it off now to Warren. Warren in all sorts of. And umpire pays a free kick, and rightly so, because Warren he had an opportunity and didn't take it. Patrick Hill, thanks to Justin Mann hairdressing.
I just think that Box Hill's ball movement's become a bit safe. Like that kick inboard there seemed to be an afterthought. 3 times they could have penetrated inboard and moved it quickly. They didn't. They finally did, and then they pay the price because they're able to cover it off. I think they need to be a bit bolder here, Box Hill.
So Templeton is the man who gets the kick. He's missed everything at the moment. Going over there, punched away by, that was Vickery. Ends up in the hands of Box Hill's defence. It's coming out here. There are 3 Port Melbourne players to 1 Box Hill player. That 1 Box Hill player is Billy Murphy, running around frantically trying to get the ball. Kicked back inside by the Port Melbourne side, and it's going to be a mark, David Mirror.
So Mirror has it, half back for Box Hill. Looks to come to the broadcast side of Box Hill City Oval. Spots up Taya Miles, been good today.
They've brought it around this wing a lot today, haven't they?
That's a better option to bring it back inboard there.
We never have that luxury here. So some little child there saying, go the Hawks in front of us.
Which is a lot better than they could be saying in front of the effects microphone.
So John O'Rourke took that mark after the inboard kick and wanted to roll around to the outside to get to the other side of the ground, but there was nothing there. They're just really lacking for width at the moment, Box Hill.
This is VFL Finals. Love the game finals series. Long go Box Hill. Towards Moore, couldn't take the mark. Picked off by Tynan for Port Melbourne. Gave it off to Anastasio. Anastasio goes inboard there. Gives it to Templeton. Templeton goes long. Looking for Lyle. Lyle really had to stretch out there, but took the mark. Now he's looking like he's trying to give it off, but there's no way he'll give it off. He'll go back and have a shot. He's a big booming kick.
Kicking into something of a breeze, if anything.
He's definitely good enough. And this is that slingshot shot that Paddy talks about where...
Easy for you to say.
Well, not really, but don't worry, I'm going to have a bourbon at 3/4 time. No, but they're quick off the mark there, and they just ran it beautifully, Port Melbourne. And spot up their big forward there, Frosty Miller medalist. Sat next to Frosty one year at the list, and lovely man.
He said the same about you.
He did not. There goes Lyle. That is long. They love it. He was confident all the way there. And Geordie Lyle...
It's actually Brody Murdoch.
It was Brody Murdoch. My apologies.
Yeah, he
so that's his first.
Who can really haul for footy.
Yeah. 1, 2 for this quarter.
He's in range anywhere inside 70.
Yep.
That's a big kick into what we believe might be a bit of a breeze. So we credited early Clark with 1, but he's actually got 1.
Searle.
And Searle's the other one.
Yep.
So all single goal kickers, interestingly enough, for Port Melbourne. They move on to 7-6-48. Now just 7 points. Box Hill 8-9-57. That's with thanks to Dream Street Lending, dreamstreet.com.au. And Paddy, how did you see that?
Well, as we spoke about at quarter time, I thought Box Hill moved the ball well and Port couldn't get their game going. That's reversed now. Port's able to now cover the X's and stop Box Hill's ball movement, and Port's getting everything they want going their way.
So the ball's gone inside 50, and this time the mark has been taken by Hugh Sandilands, who's now forward.
Well, he came off before, which looked like a bit of a decent jaw injury.
Well, he's back on, and he's kicking a goal to bring Port Melbourne to within 3 points in this game. We've played 20 minutes into the third quarter, and it's an important kick, I would have thought. Kick this, get back within 3 points. They are right back. I mean, they're in the game now. But Sandilands comes in, kicks the ball. That's gone very, very wide. Swinging back, though, and just missing. That is a behind. 7-7-49, Port Melbourne, 8-9-57, Box Hill, 21 minutes played. That's with thanks to Dream Street Lending. 8 points the difference, and that's what it was at half-time as Box Hill bring the ball out towards Vickery on the wing.
Box Hill had a great start to the quarter. Port Melbourne, though, doing well to peg them back. Here come Box Hill. Through the middle of Box Hill City. It wasn't the greatest kicker ball. Good mark taken in front there by Templeton. He's been lively in this quarter. Kicks a flat mongrel sort of a kick, went along the ground there, but in the end picked up inside 50. And mark taken there this time by Geordie Lyle, right in front of David Mirror. Hello there to Kenny Lou, who's walking around in front of us. Give us a wave, Kenny. There he is. And Lyle will go back and have a shot. He shouldn't miss this. This could bring them within 2 points now, Port Melbourne.
Interesting that in the last instance when he took the mark, he passed off to Mychek. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Murdoch.
The other Brody.
Yeah. And today, this time he's going to kick a goal, though.
Needs to start this left to right. Maybe he'll go right to right.
Right to righter.
Right to even further.
That's gone, because you see the way his jumper was blowing.
Yeah.
He really did need to start that left to right. So
well, the answer, my friend, was blowing in the wind, wasn't it?
We're out of it.
Worked. So it is a free kick to Box Hill in the back pocket, just in the cricket nets. Looks like it might be Nick Evans with the ball. Kicks the ball long, looking out there for Vickery. Goes over the back. No, it wasn't looking for Vickery. It must have been Pitter net. Ball rolled over the back. Vickery saw it rolled out of bounds. Half forward flank for the Port Melbourne Borough. 23 minutes played, third quarter. Still anyone's game. And this time last week, Hoops, was all over. We were just about ready to go home, weren't we? It was
77-point win in the end there to Box Hill, but not having it that way this week, and you wouldn't expect that against the Borough. So ball and dispute, half forward for Port Melbourne, Middleborough Road side of the ground, where they decided to block off Middleborough Road today and do some work on the overhead wires, and lots of cars not happy. Trying to get to this big game here. Good work there by Whitecross, been a lively player today. Hello to the Whitecrosses if you're listening up in the sunny state of Queensland. Hams flew for the big mark, unable to take it, but came down with it. Gave it across there to Moore. Box Hill just pressing forward. Good use of the body by Viojo Rainbow to dispatch of Taya Miles, and he's taken the mark at half back.
Update for you, Puggle. The guys are back in the cherry picker, and now they're not even trying to look like they're watching they're doing any work. Bad kick inside 50, defensive 50 by Port Melbourne. They've put themselves under pressure. Viojo Rainbow running out of space. If he doesn't get rid of it quick, he's going to be in strife. Kicks the ball and coming through on a big punch by Hams. You'd say he was ham-fisted, wouldn't you, if you wanted to, and the ball goes out of bounds. With thanks to Aaliyah Framing, we're going to check with Tara Hill and tell us what some of the key stats are for this particular quarter.
Box Hill started well. They were up 10 inside 50s to 5 for Port Melbourne. It's now 11 all. Port Melbourne's come back in the last few minutes and had most of the play. The only other major one that stands out, which Port Melbourne fans should be happy with, is the free kicks for them are up 4-1 in this quarter.
So thank you, Tara. Brendan Whitecross kicks the ball inside 50. Ball's going to roll outside. So that stat of 11 each is now 12-11 as the ball rolls out of bounds right up against the behind post at the Whitehorse Road end, to which Box Hill Hawks are kicking 25 minutes into the third quarter. They're up by 8 points. They were up by 8 points at half time. It's been a 0-all draw to that extent in this quarter. Spinning in, tapped down by Vickery to the front. Billy Murphy gets a hand pass, doesn't come off. Miles has a fresh air shot. Now with the ball is Tynan, and great tackle by Bully O'Donnell in the forward 50.
Good work there by Port Melbourne. Murphy just didn't do enough with it when he had it. He was on the burst, tapped down, big tackle laid on, and Bully O'Donnell came up with it as well. In the hands of Searle, he gave it off. Port Melbourne do good work to get out of their defensive 50. From behind there, crunching punch there by Clark. Box Hill, they want a free kick.
They want another
Morrison,
free kick,
who laid on a good tackle. There's a bit of feeling in this game.
That's an interesting hand signal by the umpire. He actually called timeout when he came running in. He made a T with his hands, whatever that meant.
What a deal. Anyway, he'll ball it up. Centre wing, true centre wing. Pitner got the tap down. Through traffic there, trying hard was Whitecross. There's a bit of a wrestle going on between Pinwell and looks like Morrison.
Unusual.
No, it was Pinwell and Moore.
Unlike Toby to be involved in something like that.
I'm surprised.
So a bit of push and shove, a bit of... Bully O'Donnell going in as well. That's unusual.
He doesn't mind a dust-up, Bully.
Two quiet blokes just having a chat.
Yep, just explaining to each other how much respect they've got for each other.
Gee, the umpire's thrown that in a mighty long way. That's gone right over
the
back
blokes
of the
in Middleborough Road almost got that back.
So kick forward by Box Hill. Oh, good gutsy mark taken there by Tynan. So Tynan gives it off. Port, they have it there through the aid of Myercheck. Go to the outer side of Box Hill City Oval. Nahas with it now.
Oh,
kick to no one, and coming in there is Moore. He got the tackle laid on him there. Was he able to get rid of it, or was it holding the ball? No, said the umpire. Hello to Gary Burke, our round the grounds reporter. Hey, Burkey, give us a score from Blackburn and Doncaster in the elimination final today, if you know it. Love to know that one. Umpire balls it up. So Pimmel on the deck, but no ball to fight for because it's already popped out. Kick there by Lang. Now they go long, but Box Hill able to take the mark there through Nash. Nash is at half back, just looking for his options, just holding it up for a moment. Decides to kick down the line, looking there for Pitnet, was unable to take the mark. The crumbs are there for Port Melbourne though. Tap forward. There's my check again. Oh, there we are, three-quarter time. That was only 27 or just under 28 minutes that quarter. So three-quarter time, Box Hill hold a slender lead, 8-9-57. Port Melbourne 7-7-49. One huge quarter of football to come. This is the qualifying final here at Box Hill City Oval. We'll be back after this short break with thanks to 90 and also VFL.com.au. This is Sunday qualifying final football.
Thanks, Phil. And it is three-quarter time, as you said. 8-point lead to the Box Hill Hawks at three-quarter time. Don't forget, after 5 o'clock, Terry Phibbs and Dusk, the best jazz, blues, poetry, cinema review and theatre review program anywhere in the universe, talking about Bobby Rydell after 5. But talking about Box Hill, we're going to cross down now. I think we've missed the Port Melbourne due to a technology failure, but Peter Lausch was in the Box Hill camp.
Yeah, Chris Newman's relatively happy with that third quarter. He just wants, he believes that Box Hill can win this game through their run. He reckons they can run the Port Melbourne off their feet, and just to really make sure that when they switch the ball, that they then bring it back into the middle and go from there and just really hit hard. There's a lot on the line. A week off, and Dallas Willsmore was saying, geez, I need a bloody week off.
And don't we all? Paddy Hill, we have an 8-point margin at three-quarter time with thanks to Justin Hairdressing. Who wins and why?
Oh, I think maybe Box Hill just gets up. I think you can score to the far end. There is a bit of a win advantage. If they can just get back to moving the ball, I'd like to see a +1 sort of just dropping off the contest here, help generate some ball movement. But if Port continues to get their own way, I think they'll get up.
And that picket fence, is it uncomfortable to sit on?
Sitting on it, yeah.
That's the only way to be.
It's 8 points, it could go either way.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. Brad's back online.
Okay, did you get any of the broadcast, any of the conversation, Brad?
Yeah, so Ezzy just wants the boys to be calculated and just not go down the line, just be smart with the ball, use the ball well, and just hold the ball if in doubt, and just make the right decisions.
Thank you. And with Around the Grounds, with thanks to Tobin Brothers Funerals, Paul Hooper has an EFL score.
Yes, Doncaster lead Blackburn in the elimination final, 9-6-60 to 7-4-46, with thanks to our Around the Grounds man, Gary Burke.
We have half an hour of football ahead of us that will determine which of these sides plays next week in an elimination semi-final and who gets a week off. Here's Paul Hooper.
So it's Pitnet and Haratuku. Haratuku gets it down to Anastasio. He did kick it long, but Mark was taken. The umpire said playing by Hams.
Why?
I don't know. In the hand there, I really don't know.
And there's the analysis for the day. Don't know.
So in the hands of Port Melbourne now. They come inside 50. Good work by Connor Glass to just press that out of bounds. We'll have a throw in there.
The only thing I could think of was it was touched off the boot.
Yeah,
because it was a clear mark.
Straight, yeah.
You generally get a feel for that. The ball looks like it's spinning funny or something, but it just... Yeah.
Spinning funny. Ball about to be thrown in the forward pocket at the Whitehorse Road end, pitting it up against Haratuku as it's been for much of the day. Ball spills over the back. Templeton runs around, kicks it to the top of the square. Dangerous spot for all concerned. Quickly kicked off the ground. Smothered, though. Going in to get the ball there was Warren. Quick kick forward by Penwell. That's a goal, and that is his first for the day, and another contender for the goal of the day, brought to us by Aaliyah Framing. 8 goals, 7-55 by Port Melbourne, 8-9-57, a 2-point lead only to Box Hill. Box Hill have been in front since the start of the game. The lead back to 2 points with thanks to Dream Street Lending, but with thanks to Justin Hairdressing, here's Patrick Hill.
What I don't like is a Port Melbourne that's fired up. If there's a team that builds on each other and that whole crowd getting involved, it's Port Melbourne, and particularly with their spiritual leader kicking a goal there. Again, probably an opportunity here just to drop one off, steady things up for Box Hill.
So Box Hill, they get the tap down. O'Donnell goes inside 50. There's a couple of players trying to run onto it there. In the hands of Pitnet. The chip kick was terrible. It's like he spotted up the opposition player there in Myercheck. So Myercheck, the big man, goes to the pocket. Port Melbourne with possession.
Take your time.
Yeah, they are taking their time. Goes down the line now. Good punch from behind there by Connor Glass. We'll have a ball in. Centre wing, outer side of Box Hill City Oval. This is a tight one here. 2-point ball game. Box Hill 57, Port Melbourne 55. Been a good game of footy. Tight, low scoring.
Gary Ayres predicted it, didn't he? He said it was going to be a low scoring game.
He's pretty good like that, just like Mullins predicting the weather.
It was hailing at the time.
Yeah, it was hailing at the time, yeah. So high up and under by Pinwell, the skipper. Punch forward there. Box Hill through Glass, so will come out of defence. He zigged and actually zagged as well. Spot up Joe Fisher. Joe Fisher come of age this year as well. Gives it off. Kick. Oh, that was pinpoint accurate. Went to Moore. Moore kicked it around the corner. It's in the hands there of Stewart. Stewart's the one with all the mud on him, isn't it?
Yep.
It is. Now he's going back for a kick, but it was... I'm surprised Moore did that. He took the mark. Yeah. Could have gone back and had a shot from 45. Hooked it around the corner. So we can see now that Stewart's in a pretty difficult position here. This will lift Box Hill if he can kick it.
Kicked a beauty last week from a similar sort of position.
Runs around off the mark. What's the umpire done here?
Straight through.
Yeah, but the umpire said you've got to go over your mark.
Isn't that where he started?
You would have thought so.
I don't understand that because he ran off the mark. So what? It's not a stoppage or the end of the game. He ran across the mark. He actually kicked that, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, kicked it.
Well, he's had a sighter anyway.
That does not make sense to me. All right, well, can he do it again? This will probably go out of bounds on the full. He's got to start the whole process again. Well, thank you, umpire number 21.
And the other thing, that's Leighton Rowe, the other thing is too that now Clark has moved in to stop him doing it.
Yes, I think it was, Cody's pointed out to me it was a block on the mark.
All right.
As the reason it went back.
So we have the third member of the Hill family.
Goes long, and he's done it again.
No, he's missed.
Oh, bugger.
Paul Hooper providing special comments. 8-10.
Oh, we got the first time.
8-10-58. Port Melbourne 8-7-55. Should give him 3 points for it. Average it out. 3.5.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So kicked out straight at the middle of the ground. That's a poor kick, and it's going to be overrun. I don't know why O'Rourke didn't pick it up himself, but he tapped it forward, kicked forward, and it's going to end up in David Mirror's hands. No, it's not. It's punched forward. Good work by Sandilands. He dropped it like the proverbial hot spud. Umpire is letting it go. Crowd getting restless. A little bit of pushy-shovey going on. Someone's just told Hugh that he doesn't look as nice with his nose bent like that.
I'll tell you something about Hugh Sandilands. He's such an important player for Port. He always gets put where Gary Ayres thinks he needs him the most.
Yep.
So now that he's forward, you can see that's probably where their intentions are, to attack and win this game.
So he kicks the ball forward, and that's Heatherly in front. Good mark taken by Lyle at the back. Hand passes off to Clark. Clark back to Lyle. Lyle just hand passes it blindly towards Anastasio. Anastasio gets tackled. Now Golby taking forever to get rid of it. Umpire says he didn't have a chance in the first place. And that's going to happen when you've got someone that weighs as much as Mark Pittonet on top of you. It's going to make it hard to get the ball out. Tapped down by Pittonet to, that was O'Donnell with the ball. Must have been O'Rourke who got the ball out. He kicks it wide. It's a foot race now. Miles is miles in front, running onto the ball, trying to get it to bounce for him. He overruns it, but cleverly done so because it ends up in the hands of Fisher, and good mark taken there by Murdoch.
So Murdoch, Port really trying to attack to win the game. Box Hill had their chances up forward.
They're just really stretching Box Hill at the moment from one side of the ground to the other. Box Hill likes a nice tight defence.
So Port Melbourne with patience. Heratuku flew, couldn't take the mark. He was sport pretty well. Running onto it, big tackle.
Great
there
tackle
by David Mirror. The umpire hasn't called it though.
Yes, he has.
Yes, he has.
You're looking at the wrong umpire. Yep.
These two players have had a lot of battles over the years.
So Kane, we know he's just a superstar of the club at Port Melbourne.
Only 2 or 3 games short of 200 himself, like Toby Pinwell a couple of weeks ago.
So Box Hill, outer side of the ground. Big fly by Fisher, unable to take it. Aducci goes in there. He gets wrapped up in the tackle.
Just completely misjudged it, didn't he, Fisher?
I think it's just unnecessary as well. You just need to hold the body there, hold him out, and then run onto it.
Yeah.
So the umpire will toss it in, centre wing, outer side of Box Hill City Oval. This has been a good battle today between Pittonet and Heratuku. Kick out of fresh air there and will be seen out of bounds.
But I think Gary S is right. We saw them play 2 weeks ago and they didn't have Pittonet and they really struggled around the clearances. We'll go to Tara shortly when we've had a break in play in a moment to get some ideas around clearances. But it's been very evident that Pittonet was a required player in this game. Running over it now, there he is, one of the cleanest guys below his knees, gets it over to O'Donnell. O'Donnell brings the ball in closer to 50, not quite there. Running onto it now, Fisher overran the ball, and it's on its way out with Anastasio running like he normally does.
So Anastasio gives it off now. Here comes Port. Look to go inside 50, but they're held up. That's holding the ball. The umpire said yes, it was. Free kick to
another
the
one
Box
to
Hill
Mirror.
Hawks.
Yeah, 2 great tackles.
That's what David Mirra does, gives you that all the time. We're just so used to it here, seeing him for the last few years, throughout his whole career practically.
Yeah, we're just getting blasé about it, isn't it?
We are. We're just used to it. If it doesn't happen, we're very surprised. So Heatherly will have possession. Switch was on there. Good running to Hams. Hams has been good again this week as well. Heatherly ran forward. He took the possession. Goes now inside 50. Gee, that was beautiful. And you know what, Kurt Heatherly, we take our hat off to you. He took possession from the lateral kick from David Mirra, ran forward, gave it off, ran forward again, took the ball, and then delivered it perfectly. That was terrific by Kurt
And I think
Heatherly.
that's a tribute to the Box Hill and Hawthorn coaching staff, because that's not a natural move. Like, you and I have been kicking a footy since we were 10. He's come up playing a different sport, and to be able to teach him that kind of game sense is a tribute to him and also the coaching staff. Paddy asked me to say that.
Just the options they had there. He could have gone outboard or come back inboard. They chose the inboard option, and that opened up the play.
Really important kick here for Andrew Moore. Comes in, good approach.
Oh, shocking kick.
That is a Barry Crocker out on the full to the left.
Takes a lot of ability to be able to miss it by 10 metres.
You wonder how that happens, really. I mean, he looked good as he set up.
Yep.
Took his time, he wasn't rushed.
Yep. Well, thanks to Aaliyah Framing, we're going to ask Tara, what sort of key stats have we got for the fourth quarter? Anything to report?
Well, when you were talking about the clearances up to three-quarter time, Box Hill were dominating 17-9. In this last quarter, I think a bit more fired up Port Melbourne. They are leading 4-2.
Aducci! Okay, I just thought I'd do the call for
No,
it.
great description of that play there.
Exactly, just
nothing else to say.
For all the viewers back home, Aducci kicked the goal.
Well, the kick out from, from the free kick that went out of bounds on the full was kicked back inside 50, and Aducci just happened to be in the right spot at the right time, ran around and kicked a beautiful goal on his left. That's what Neil was trying to say when he yelled out the name Aducci.
I think I summed that up, though.
Just wanted to say that. So Box Hill, a little bit of breathing space. 9-10-64. Port Melbourne 8-7-55, 9-point ball game, which is nothing really, but it has been a fairly low-scoring game. The umpire balls it up. Middle of Box Hill City Oval. We'll come to Paddy Hill in a moment for his thoughts. Go, Paddy.
All right, so just having a look back here now, there's 7 Box Hill defenders behind the ball. So they're trying to create that +1.
So at the moment, that nominally is Max Warren or Will Hams.
So now drags Golby up, so now I think Ham should just drop off a bit here. Give some protection deep. That's their main worry.
And so
there's got to
be a Port Melbourne player somewhere. It's the one on the ball by the looks of it.
Yeah, they're going up to the wall. They're going up to cover Warren. So Warren goes up. Golby goes up with him. That allows the drop off.
Comes through, and O'Sullivan takes the mark. He's about 75 metres out, kicks it deep inside the 50-metre zone. David Mirra in the front of the pack. Where else would you expect him to be? Ball taken down inside 50. Umpire a bit lucky not to be too high.
Oh, might have been a little high there.
Yeah, I think he might have called. He ducked into it.
And there was another little wrestling match as that popped out of the centre square there between Pinwell and Moore.
Surprising, those two. You know, they're gentle fellas.
Umpire balls it up, half forward for Port Melbourne. They need one. Here's Anastasio, lays it on the boot. Does he like it? No. He jogs backwards, but doesn't like it. That'll be an 8-point ball game now. 8-8-56, the Borough.
Spending a lot of time at the back of the stoppage at the moment, Anastasio. He likes to get you up the ground and then rip back.
Box Hill 9-10-64, so it's an 8-point ball game. So Box Hill kick out. That's a long kick.
Interesting, off one step, effectively.
That was a long kick, though. But Port Melbourne with possession in the hands there of Dwyer. Bob the Front, they call him. Goes inside 50. Good mark taken. I reckon that's Clark there.
It is. Yep.
So Clark will go back. He's right on the boundary line, 30 metres around. Tough kick, tough angle, tough everything. Tough mutter. You ever done that, Neil?
I'm in training for it at the moment, as you can tell.
I watched it on telly.
Yeah.
Clark comes in. Here's a right footer. Just gives it a little bit. Goes to the top of the square. Big pack flies. That's not a mark. It was touched by a Box Hill player, but the umpire's paid it.
He's paid
it.
Gee, I reckon that came off a Box Hill play. We don't have the advantage of a replay, but I'm sure that came off a Box Hill player first, but the mark claimed and paid to Hugh Sandilands. Will go back and kick this This will reduce it to 2 points again.
It's enough Box Hill blokes on the mark.
I was sure that came off the back of the pack first, but the umpire's in the perfect position and would never get it wrong. Sandylands. So we definitely have a game on our hand. Now, this is interesting. Sandylands has kicked his first.
Everyone.
9 individual goal kickers for Port Melbourne.
Yep.
9-8-62. Box Hill, 9-10-64. We've got the tight one here. And with thanks to, just for men hairdressing at Forest Hill, this is Paddy Hill.
So like I spoke about before, a lot of sides, there's one player where you can, wherever they're playing, you can sort of tell what the coach wants to do. And Sanderland's the one there. He's a big moment player. He kicks clutch goals. And that was a terrific mark then.
So now there's 8 Hawks defenders.
Blackburn will go through.
Blackburn were 14 points down in the last quarter. They're now in front 64-60.
Evans kicks the ball forward inside 50. Going back with it was Fisher, misjudged it a second time. Running onto it, Murphy might have been grabbed. Keeps the ball in front of him sensibly. Ball rolls out of bounds. Forward pocket, just in front of the cricket nets at the northern end of the ground. Or at the moment, the electricity works side of the ground. More yellow lights flashing out there than Paul Hooper's house at a party.
We should let all those tyres down out there on our way home.
No, because then you'll have the traffic jam again.
Don't care. I'm going to the pub.
So
the umpire ball's in
big fist forward. Into the hands of Tynan. Kicked by Masidi left foot. And that ends up in the hands of the Box Hill player. Is that Hams? It's Hams. Gee, he's been good today. Kicks the ball inside 50, looking for Vickery. Couldn't hold the mark. Ball spills to the back. Port Melbourne player out here is Dwyer. He waits for the ball to bounce for him. Kicks it wide. And a good mark taken on the dive by
Pearson. To make a contest then. Port Melbourne come back in board. Gee, good kick. Pinpoint accuracy by Port. The Port ladies like it. They're getting excited there. Here they are in the hands of Lang. He'll run forward, gives it off inside 50. Long.
Hits the post. Yeah, all the crowd's all at one gone for the head.
1 point ball game.
What are the chances of extra time here, guys?
What about a draw, Pete?
Won't be a draw.
Oh, geez, it'll be extra time then.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Thank you.
64-63 in favour of Box Hill.
Punch.
They've led all day, Box Hill.
Except at the start when the scores were 0.
Except for the start, that's correct, but they have led all day. Just coughing it up there, Box Hill, into the hands of Murdoch. Goes forward, spots up his player. The Port ladies are getting excited.
Is that because Peter Lausch has undone his shirt?
Sandylands.
They're right behind me.
Yeah.
Sandylands on the left boot. Big long kick, and good mark taken by Vickery. They've got him in the back line. Well, he hasn't done much up forward. He's been able to take the ruck contest.
Yeah, Pettinet's on the bench, so Vickery's rucking.
So Heatherly with the mark in the back pocket.
Got to think this one through the Hawks.
So kicks with the right boot. Oh, 2 Box Hill players nearly spoiled each other, but Vickery took the mark. A few cheers there.
Well, there's twice as many marks he's taken for the day, I think, isn't it?
He's doing all right. Over the top there to Mirror. Mirror gives it across to Moore. Moore zigged, then zagged. Went on the right boot.
Good kick.
Was a good kick there. Whitecross wasn't actually ready for it, but he got the mark anyway. It goes laterally, and that was bad because now Port, they're in the corridor that they like, using it well. And here's Heatherly. He's able to get hands on it, unable to take the mark. It's half forward for Port Melbourne. We will see a ball up.
Pettinet back on, Vickery off.
Saw Moore coming off and just having a little crack at a couple of players on the way off. He's got the angry pills on. I like that.
I mean, you've got to have those kicks to win games. You've got to take some risks. But that was risky, that kick inboard. Didn't
need to do that. Should just gone to the top of the square, perhaps.
Or if you've got a player at 30 metres in the clear, but there were players everywhere, weren't there?
It's pretty congested. The umpire's balled up half forward for Port Melbourne. Trying to get it out there to O'Sullivan. Tackle laid on. Bully O'Donnell on the bottom of that pack. And he was being wrapped up there by the player in Harvey Hooper.
You're a +1 behind the ball now, Mirror, protecting deep.
Pitneck got the tack down immediately, tackled though.
So
Bully O'Donnell, he's wrestling like a wrestler.
Port's just pulled one out now, so Date to try and attract Mirror. So now Mirror's trying to pull one out.
Someone's getting a bit distressed about the whole thing out there on the effects mic.
Umpire balls it up. Pitner got the tap down. Pinwell grabbed it. Here comes Port. That's through Kane. I reckon that was touched off the boot. Umpire said play on. Half forward for Port Melbourne. 1 point ball game. Wrapped up. 18.5 minutes played in this final term. This is the close one. This will decide whether I have 2 pots in celebration or 80 in defeat, Neil Butler.
Ball goes out wide. Free kick paid against the Port Melbourne player there, and taking the free kick as a Ducci, the goal kicker before. He was just held out of the ball, and so he kicks the ball wider still and finds his teammate there in Jordan Walker, who's been serviceable again. Just sneaking along, making a bit of a career for himself. He's got Heatherly out here lurking by himself, but he's going straight down the line. Kicks the ball long. Not sure he's looking for, because there's lots of Port blokes over there. Ends up coming through, though, into the hands of the Port Melbourne players. It looks like it's Conway with it now. He's kicked it, and he looks for and finds Searle at the top of the defensive goal square. Searle not sure what to do. Plenty of pressure on these 23rd players. Gets it off to his captain in Pinwell. Pinwell, his hand pass is a good piece of work by the Port Melbourne player, but it's going to come straight back because Heatherly, close to best on ground today for mine, takes the mark on the wing. Heatherly's got a player further up the ground. It's Moore.
So I'd like to see Moore not travel laterally.
You should be putting this near the boundary somewhere.
So it goes back to Heatherly. Heatherly goes around one player. Goes on the left boot.
Good kick.
Trying to find, and he does. That's unbelievably lucky, I'll say. Fell into the hands there of Brendan Whitecross. Now, Brendan Whitecross is looking to have a shot here. And you know what? He could go the distance, but
he's waiting for someone to lead up.
Yep, and that player was Nash.
Start this left to right.
See, put it up.
He's gone right to right. Oh, no, he put it up instead, you're right. And Mark taken in defence.
That's a lack of awareness from his teammates there.
Just ticked into time on this final quarter. It's a 1 point ball game. Exciting times. It's been very exciting between these two clubs for a few years now. Nahas, half forward for Port Melbourne. Not a good kick, but he was dispatched by Connor Glass after the kick was taken.
Expert comments by the bloke next to me.
Yeah, and for all the parents at home, we apologise.
Yeah.
So a free kick will be taken here. Nahas got slung, but it'll be Conway who takes the free kick. Quite capable of kicking this distance. You've got the Kirtley Ambrose run up.
Well, he's kicked 38 already this year. He hasn't kicked one today.
Hey, very capable. Very, very capable. 1 point the difference. Time on. Qualifying final of the VFL Love the Game final series with thanks to Peter Jackson Menswear. In comes Dylan Conway. Long run up. Puts it on the boot. Gee, that's a long kick. And it's gone through for a behind. So the scores are level. 9-10, 64 apiece.
I tipped this.
Says Peter Lausch, 21-28.
He picked it 12 weeks ago. That's
21 minutes and 30 seconds now just ticked over.
There is no draw to be had. It will be extra time. So ball ends up with Murphy. Murphy now off to Brolick. Someone needs to stand up for one of these sides. It's Fisher. Hand passes off to Vickery. Vickery gets it on to... He's got Whitecross in the goal square by himself. If he can get it there in time, and he does. Whitecross has taken the mark and cleverly stepped into the goal square to make the umpire think he's marked it in the goal square. Shouldn't miss either way.
It's 50.
And 50 metres. So now Whitecross directly in front. Anthony Anastasio will be standing on the goal line. You would expect him to score. I could score from here.
I reckon Nana Butler could score from there.
And she's not even well. So Whitecross comes in and drills the goal and kicks the ball out into the street. Box Hill 10-10-70, Port Melbourne 9-10-64. We've played about 22 minutes into the final quarter, of course, with thanks to Dream Street Lending. In fact, 23 minutes. Here is Paddy Hill with thanks to Just for Men Hairdressing.
That's one of those situations, whether it be a kick-in or a forward 50 stoppage, where you think you got the game under control, and it's how quickly the ball can move from end to end. You really need to have your defensive mechanisms and setups right, and they got exposed that time.
It's the equivalent, I assume, of the sort of overcommitment to a tackle.
It is, absolutely. And we overcommit to defend. We get a little bit too high and we allow one at the back. Box Hill got blatant overlap then and an easy goal.
23 minutes played in this final turner for the Eastern Football League fans. Blackburn have defeated Doncaster by 4 points in the elimination final of Division 1. Well done to the Burners. So it's in dispute in the middle of the ground. Here's Fisher. Picks it up and goes forward. It's 1-on-1. Oh, good mark in front by Myercheck. Gee, did that well. Actually, in fact, that was Cook.
He's been terrific today.
Really good, hasn't he? And held his own down there.
Better than holding somebody else's.
Been tough. Well, I don't know. That can be fun at times too. I was at the Jewellery Beaners Ball last night. Plenty of that stuff. Handball off. Here are Box Hill. Fisher gives it off there. That's to Stewart.
Any
Stewart
scores
goes long.
It's a VIP.
Indeed.
Very important point.
So and Box Hill now by 7 points.
Can we drag out the 7-point play cliche as well?
24 minutes played. Port need the next one. If Box Hill get the next one.
Remembering the previous quarter went for about 27.5 minutes. Great punch by Heatherly. Brought the ball down in front. Port Melbourne with the ball on the half-back flank in the hands now of the man whose surname is Hooper.
We love him. Geez, a good-looking unit, just like
somebody else with the same
someone
name.
Else, yes.
The one thing Box Hill can't do here is just sit back and try and defend deep. If you try and do that, the ball will end up there and they'll be in real trouble. They've got to come up together and defend.
O'Donnell gets it off to Brolick. Brolick takes it out further, finds his teammate out there. Is that Nick Evans with the ball?
It is Evans, yes.
Good Evans.
Evans, out of sight. Box Hill City Oval. Goes along with the left boot. Vickery got in front, crunched the pack.
Crunch.
He actually did that pretty well, but it was a free kick paid.
And two Box Hill players were crunched by each other.
It's okay.
We're just going to turn the boundary riders down because there's a bit of static going on, so you'll need to wave to us, lads.
Oh,
Great.
Hams got in front. Took the ball, long kick, and a mark taken up forward for Box Hill.
And that's an example there of Hams having the courage to come up and defend high rather than sitting back and worried about the back. Terrific stuff. He gets it in, more goals, which should almost...
Don't say it, Paddy Hill.
Would I be allowed to say that sometimes defence is the best form of attack?
Well, that's what Paddy was saying before.
Yeah, no, but
Box Hill just try and defend.
I was just bringing out a cliche, that's all.
That's the thing, that if you want to defend inside defensive 50, that's where the ball will end up. That's what you're inviting them to do. So you need to
Andrew Moore kicks the goal. So Moore's second for the afternoon. He kicked one in the first quarter. Box Hill now. 11-11-77. They're 13 points up now on Port Melbourne.
Who are 9-10-64. See, team effort there, Hoops.
That was great work there. You remember the bottom one. I remember the top one.
You always remember the bottom one.
Box Hill, Paddy Hill says they're home now. I would never say that.
No, I said almost.
It is 26 minutes into this final term. I'd be interested to see Port drop their heads a bit in.
We had a lot of stoppages this quarter.
I reckon it'll go 28.5. That'll be my take. So I reckon there's 2 minutes left to go.
How do we go with stoppage? Oh, Tara's taking a few of those stats there. Been great for Leah Framing.
Port Melbourne's certainly winning the stats +5.
Oh, he's taken over. He's being the family spokesperson. He's almost like it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all those listening in and to those who we sadly acknowledged also who might have lost a dad during the last 12 months. It's hope you're having a family day to remember.
So the umpire balls it up. It is the middle of Box Hill City Oval. We're into time on.
+2 behind the ball now, Box Hill.
Good
Got
thinking.
One protecting the back, one a little bit higher.
27 minutes just ticking over in this final term. Box Hill are 13 points up. Geez, they battled hard today, but led all day as well.
And they've only got 2 of the stoppages. I suggest there's not much time to go. There's only 2 forward of the ball.
So Stewart kicked it
Great
forward.
Work, Bully O'Donnell.
It was good work indeed. Rourke came through, but here come Port Melbourne now. Good handball given off. Going long now. Oh, that's a mighty torp inside 50. 3-on-1 though, or 2-on-1 in the end. And David Mirror strategically didn't mark it and it went out of bounds.
Both runners are on the ground. That normally makes a minute,
and with
doesn't it?
only 2 ahead of the ball, Box Hill won't do that unless it's really close to time. You can't defend that for too long.
So I said 28.5. It's now 27.5. I think there's less than a minute to go. Port Melbourne need 3 goals. Ball comes spinning back into play. Tapped down, picked up by Kane. He's able to kick, and that is a behind. And it's out on the full, in fact. Full, yep. Yes, it was behind the post. That's my excuse. Does that work, or am I just incompetent?
And I think Box Hill would rather a point here. The difficulty with this is you generally know where the kick's going to go, where at a point you can go either side.
So the umpire telling him to move on with it. It's Heatherly who's kicked the ball long. Out the front was Pitternet. He couldn't take the mark. Ball spills over the back. Great hands by Brolick. Got it off to O'Donnell. And the ball out of bounds. Half-forward flank for the Port Melbourne side. Repeating the scores in the moment. 28.5 minutes in the last quarter. 11-11-77 Box Hill. Port Melbourne 9-10-64. It's a 13-point lead to Box Hill after Port Melbourne drew level about 5 minutes ago.
3-2 in this final quarter in favour of Box Hill. Haratuku got the tap down. Here come Box Hill now, though. It was an ordinary kick in a way from... who did kick that? It was Dallas Willsmore.
But to be fair, that's the second time this year he's used his right foot.
Well, that's true. It's his right foot. So Box Hill, they've got the lead. They should hang on here.
The important thing was it was out to the boundary line.
Yeah,
correct.
That's what he needed to do. Get it out there where it was safe.
And in fact, swinging back onto his left would have put it into the corridor. So he did the right thing.
And it doesn't even matter if it's out on the full there. At least you get to set up and get your defensive stuff right.
29 minutes. I know nothing about the time clock.
The umpire balls it in. Ball taken to ground. Good work in the end there. I think that might have been my check that got rid of it. But Box Hill are able to get boot to ball. 1-on-1. There was holding going on. The umpire said...
it's okay.
It is okay. So now in the hands of Tynan. Been a good player for Port Melbourne. They've battled hard, Port Melbourne. Cook with it. Half-back. Been a good player today for the Borough. Trying to go inside their corridor. There goes Willsmore. Gee, that was a poor kick with his right foot, believe it or not.
What's that 3 times in the one season?
And mark taken by Mercedes, but the umpire said no play on. Handball by Clark. Goes to Pinwell. So Pinwell gives it off there. Long kick there by Templeton. Goes inside 50, but comes off players.
I think they know it's getting close, given that punch.
And out of bounds. So a ball in, Neil, right in your forward pocket here.
Thank you very much, the Neil Butler Memorial pocket.
It is getting dark here.
Memorial?
Yeah, they try to remember me over there. So, a ball about to be spun back into the play by the boundary umpire. 11-11-77, 9-10. It's a 13-point lead to Box Hill. Haratuku looking for the free kick for too high.
So that could have been too high.
It could have been.
He had him in a half, Nelson.
Yes, he did. But to be fair, it was Bully O'Donnell, so it was something of achievement to reach that high. It is a ball up inside 50 for the Borough. Tapped down by Haratuku. Spills out the back. There it is! Box Hill win the game 11-11-77 to 9-10-64. It's a 13-point win to to Box Hill. And Box Hill gets the week off. Port Melbourne get to play against either Footscray or Essendon next week. And we'll hear some thoughts from Paddy Hill soon. But Peter Lausch is out on the looking for someone to interview, and as soon as we get someone, we'll get him on board. But a great win in the end, Paul Hooper.
Well, it was, and Box Hill, they really ground out that win because they got in front, but it was tight. They managed to just maintain a 1 to 2 goal advantage for most of the day. Might have got out to 15 points, 20 points in the second term, but Box Hill were able to hang on there. I was waiting for Lauschi's grabbing an interview.
I think 20 points was the biggest margin.
That was the biggest margin. Port Melbourne battled hard. They never actually got in front. But they got close within a point when it was 63 to 64.
Yeah.
Oh, they drew level. You are correct, Paddy.
So in that last quarter, 3-2 Box Hill to Port Melbourne 2-3. So we're looking for Peter Lausch.
I'm waiting for the guy next door to play the song.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? He's trying to work. Is it track 7 or is it track 12?
We never know.
Yeah, g'day, fellas.
Yep, go for it, Lauschie.
I've got Kurt Heatherly down here on the boundary. Excellent game for you today, Kurt, personally, an excellent result for the team. Obviously, be very relieved having the week off next week and straight into a prelim final.
Yeah, definitely. They really tested us 2 weeks ago, so we knew there was going to be a battle on our hands. We knew we need to put everything into this. Yeah, super proud of the boys. We just got to rest up this week, I guess, and then whoever we play the week after. But yeah, super effort by all the boys today.
Curtis Neal up here. I don't know why you're puffing. We're not puffing up here, sitting on our backsides. A great performance. What was different this time? There's a 6 or 7 goal turnaround.
I think we just played all together. They pulled us apart too easy last week, so we knew we always just had to give those first gives straight away. Just do all the basics well, because we know in finals, obviously, you just need the only thing you really need to do is just all the basics. I thought the boys did that today. A well-deserved victory by all the boys, and we look to having the week off and getting ready to rock and roll the following week.
It's Paddy here, Kurt. You've got a lot of small forwards there with a fair amount of zip. What was that like dealing with those blokes streaming forward all day long?
Yeah, honestly, they like to slingshot forward the whole game, so yeah, we knew 2 weeks ago they did that to us, so we had to have all guns blazing today and everyone to buy in, all be on the same page. So super proud of the boys today, great effort. Yeah, can't complain.
You've done well, mate.
Thanks, Kurt. Go in there and have a sing-along, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. There he is, Kurt Heatherley, joining us on 3WBC, and apparently, just reading between the lines, he's super proud of the boys.
Well, you know what? He was fantastic today, Kurt Heatherley. That 6 for Box Hill was terrific. But, you know, he came up the ground, gut-busting running, getting back as well. And, gee, they enjoyed that win, Box Hill, and you always do against Port Melbourne. Any club loves to beat Port. For Port, I mean, they'll be disappointed they didn't win the game, but Box Hill did lead all day. And, gee, another tight contest between these two proud clubs, Paddy.
Yeah, and as I said at the start of the day, it wouldn't be a big margin. They never do play any big margins. I think the last game is probably the biggest one I remember for a long time. I think I said 17 points. It was 13 in the end. They'd be super happy with that, particularly with a bit of a breeze in the last quarter to really dig in. And you look at some of the efforts of people like Dave Mirror later, a couple of really important tackles when they needed to be done in that last quarter. Andrew Moore really stepped up. He was terrific all day. But look, Port certainly weren't disgraced. They'll go away. They'll have a look at sometimes. The best feedback you can get is failure. So.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to kill that off, I think, with the static. It's just bursting through the headset. So sorry about that, Laushy, but come out and we'll talk very soon about your votes. Sorry, Paddy, keep going.
Yeah, so look, I think, as I said, feedback is failure. They'll go away, they'll have a look at what they did, analyse it, and they'll be better for the run. It sets up a really, really enticing encounter with Williamstown potentially in the other prelim final. So it's great for the VFL and obviously great for Box Hill to get through to another prelim with all the challenges this year. Absolutely.
There he is, Patrick Hill, who has been providing us with some expert commentary today, the coach of the VFL women's side here. And, of course, part of the successful 2013 campaign when Box Hill won the premiership. We're going to try and get out there to Brad Mullen. Have you got anything to add to that, please, Brad?
Yeah, it was a fantastic game, to be honest. You had Port Melbourne come back and almost stole it, but to Box's credit, they were fantastic all day, and they were the better side, so... It was a great game of footy.
And we might get some stats with thanks to Aaliyah Framing. We've had Tara Hill in with us today. Tara, anything that stands out in terms of what might have won the game for Box Hill?
It's mainly just the clearances around the ground that Box Hill pretty much dominated all day until the last quarter. That's the only time that they did lose it, when Port were coming back. So all the rest of them were pretty even for the day.
Excellent. There she is, with thanks to Aaliyah Framing. She's been absolutely outstanding for someone who turned up to the football to think she was going to stand and watch a game of footy. She's ended up doing all the stats for us, and we appreciate you doing that. Right, time to get some votes from various people, and we've got Brad Mullen out the front there somewhere. Brad, do you want to kick us off? Oh, there he is. Somewhere there. He's hiding away. There he is. No, he's not going to do it. His microphone's not working. Okay, so Peter Lausch is with us.
Yeah, I gave one vote to Pitternet because his work was pretty solid throughout the middle in the ruck. And
that's because his mum's just walking past.
Was it?
Yeah.
Two votes I gave to Kate Stewart, and 3 votes I gave to Kurt Heatherley.
Excellent.
Played a fantastic game today.
We might get your microphone over to Brad. Paul Hooper, what do you think?
It was hard to find an outstanding player for Port Melbourne. There was a few good players there. Haratuku, I thought, was good in the ruck against Pitton. They probably shared the spoils there. Mitch Golby was good, liked him down back, and also Cook down back as well, and Eli Templeton played his role as well. unfortunately for Port, 9 goals but 9 individual goal kickers, and that was where one of the problems was. I gave one go to Maxi Warren down back in that first 2 quarters, first half. He was very good down there. I gave 2 to Andy Moore, who was tireless all day. He had a big job, and he was trying to nail the skipper in Pinwell. I actually gave 3 to Will Hams off a half-back line. I thought he was fantastic all day.
And Paddy, what do you got for us?
I want to declare to start with, I'm the worst person ever given votes, so I never know.
Oh, no, you're not. No, we've got you covered on that basis.
I'd give 1 vote to Tara Hill.
Yeah, I've got no idea. I'll just go with 1 vote to Andrew Moore. I really liked his game. I thought he stepped up when it needed to be. I liked the first 3 quarters of John O'Rourke as well. I think he was really instrumental in setting up and winning those clearances. And I'm going to go for a Port Melbourne best on ground. I'm going to go for Lucas Cook. I thought he was fantastic down back. And when they were really under pressure, he kept Port in that game for a long time. And I don't really like to give it to the sides that have lost. But I thought it was a fantastic game.
And you can be right there, though, Paddy, because, Box Hill had an even spread of good players.
Yeah, it was really hard to decide a best on ground for Box Hill, but I thought he was a real standout for Port Melbourne today.
Now, Tara, are you playing? Or
No, I'm shocking when I'm doing stats to try and...
Worse than Paddy. That's extraordinary. Okay, Brad, we now has a microphone that's working, so Brad, give us a go.
Yeah, guys, I thought Mark Pitnet in the ruck was pretty critical. He's very good at below his feet. He's one of those ruckmen that, can...
And that's a long way away.
Bend over and pick up the ball and get it. He's almost like an inside midfielder where he can pick up the ball. Also gave 2 to Will Hams. I thought his work was pretty good. Since he come back from concussion, he's been very good. And I've got to give 3 to Andrew Moore. Thought he was pretty good today. And, did play very well.
Okay, well, for the first time in history, I think my votes actually count for something today. So I'm going to give 1 vote to Lucas Cook. I thought he was the standout player for Port Melbourne today. I'm going to give my 2 votes to Kurt Heatherly, and I'm going to give my 3 votes to Will Hams, which means, wow, there's a lot of people got votes today. 1 vote Max Warren, 2 votes each to Mark Pitternet, Jono O'Rourke, Cade Stewart. We had 4 votes to Lucas Cook. We had 5 votes to Kurt Heatherly. We had 6 votes to Andrew Moore. And the best on ground, according to the experts in the box, for the player of the match supported by the BizWiz was Will Hams with 8 votes today.
That's deserving.
Yeah, so...
and was good off half-back.
I think it's the first time that we've had that many players listed in the best players. And I mean, we had 1 extra commentator, but to get that many is extraordinary. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players got mentioned.
You could have put Dave Mirren there as well. You could have put Teo Miles was really good. Brendan Whitecross was a workhorse.
Oh, absolutely.
Connor Glass across half-back was really instrumental. So it was just that sort of game, I think.
It was.
And I reckon that was the difference in the game was the Box Hill back 6, Paddy. They were able to work out amongst themselves and play their roles perfectly. And that's why we only saw individual goal kickers for Port Melbourne, I think.
So we'll check those goal kickers for Port Melbourne: Jordan Lyle, Toby Pinwell, Anthony Anastasio, Hugh Sandilands, Robin Nahas, Brodie Murdoch, Blake Pearson, Scott Clark and Callum Searle. And Paul Hooper, do you want to give us the goal kickers for the Box Hill Hawks, please?
So for Box Hill, there was 3 dual goal kickers. Andrew Moore kicked 2, Teo Miles 2, and Vincent Aducci kicked 2.
Billy Murphy too.
Billy Murphy has also kicked 2, 1 in the first, 1 in the second quarter, and singles to Hanrahan, Brendan Whitecross and Dallas Willsmore.
Now, in terms of goals, we of course nominate a goal of the day supported by Aaliyah Framing. You can find them on Facebook on 0427871154. I have 3 that I circled. One of those was for Toby Pinwell, that goal at the start of the last quarter, which was not only talented but also really important in the context of the game. One by Anthony Anastasio and one by Oliver Hanrahan.
What about the one by Callum Searle that where he didn't get a hand on it and he laid a boot on it as well?
For mine, I reckon Hanrahan.
Hanrahan for me.
Yeah, Hanrahan for me as well.
So it looks like it's Oliver Hanrahan who gets the goal of the day. It is 14 minutes to 5 here on 94.1 FM 3WBC. Coming up after 5 o'clock is the Dusk program with Terry Phibbs. Today a special with Bobby Rydell, and not just a special featuring the music of Bobby Rydell. The great man